live, and we always do things live. It's
Okay.
okay.
Yes, open and transparency.
It's
We're
still a bit
very.
dark, you know. Your face is still dark. If you can go
Yeah.
into the light, nice.
So Prabhu, how old are you?
Prabhu,
If you
Um,
might,
I'm 24 years old.
if you can answer. 24
Yeah.
years old, Jai.
24.
So you came in Christian. Wow, that's when I started basically. When I was 24. Now I'm
Mm-hmm.
35. So that's so
Mm-hmm.
you're about my age when I started. So how long have you been in contact with Srila Prabhupada's books and maybe the devotee congregation? Or
It's 6 years from 18.
6 years from
Mm-hmm.
18. Wow,
He was full.
amazing.
You were
So
full
can
time, eh? You did some full time service.
No, no full time. Never.
Okay,
I'm still polluted, and I feel
mm-hmm.
very bad right now.
That's no
I'm sorry.
problem. We are what we are, and maybe
Jai.
we can help together to do something together. And he's also separate from your wife. Eh? You've left your wife.
No, no, no left. It's just struggle
Temporary
with Krishna
temporary
consciousness.
separation.
Yeah,
Sorry?
temporary. As a temporary separation.
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Cool.
would just like to let you speak because I don't feel really comfortable right now speaking.
A bit shy.
It's okay. You
No,
can ask us
no
questions.
problem.
You can ask us questions
If you have any
anytime you like.
question of her,
This is my
okay.
son.
Yeah.
You see him? This is my son.
Yeah.
Haribo.
Haribo.
And my
Is
daughter is and my daughter is upstairs with the grandma and grandpa. She got a new toy that she's trying to show to them how to sleep in a sleeping bag. It came from China. So she's like, yeah, showing off her toy.
Huh?
So do you have any children, Prabhu?
No. No,
No,
I
no
am
okay.
children.
child myself
You're the only
still.
child. Okay.
Good. You live stress free.
Joy.
No,
Yeah.
no.
I
He's
will.
got a wife in South Africa. His wife is
Yeah.
far
Oh,
away.
Yeah.
So we talked together yesterday on was it on Zoom? I don't know. And we talked 1 hour. It's nice to have a friend so far away. This is a technology allowing us to do this, and this COVID is encouraging us to make very far away contacts as
Yes.
if he's
Very
in our room.
personal contact, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and sometimes
Joy.
we are not using it enough. You know, somebody come in? No, nobody else.
No one has
So
joined except us.
I sent links to my friends. Maybe they're busy.
Yes, so we can continue. So I'm in Sacramento, California. You probably might
hmm.
have heard of Sacramento, California. And what I used to,
North.
yes, yes. And
Mhm.
when the COVID thing was not going on, I was having a little program at my house and at the local Indian temple. It's called Lakshmi Narayan Temple. I'm very good friends with the temple president and the management and the people that come to the temple. So basically, I can have programs, distribute Srila Prabhupada's books, cook prasadam and distribute stuff and sell books. So in that way, I was preaching to the young people, and on Sundays, I used to cook prasadam at home and take it to the temple and just set up a table there and set up the books. And then I used to invite people, hey, let's read Bhagavad Gita. And the
Oh,
people, devotees used to come. And then
Mhm.
we had a, very, open and wonderful conversation regarding the verses. They would read the verses, I would read, and then we would discuss, their realizations. So in this way, we had a very close, intimate, understanding about the philosophy and personal relationship, just like we have now. So then, when the COVID thing came, everything, the temples got closed, and everyone got scared, so it got spoiled. But anyways, it's starting to pick back up now.
Were
And
you Christian before, Ramachandra, or no?
Very nice.
no, actually, as when I was in second, third grade, my dad and my mom, they used to read us stories from the Bible, like
I
the
see.
book of Bible stories by the Jehovah's Witness people. So
Mm-hmm.
they used to read that book to me, and I knew all the pastimes, just like the young
I
child
see.
knows about Krishna book. I knew all the pastimes, Adam and Eve, Sodom and Gomorrah, David and Goliath, Jonah's Ark,
But your
all this.
usual religion was Hinduism, probably.
Yes, yes,
I see.
yeah. But then when we migrated to America, when I was what 10 years old or something, when I was in
10 years.
fifth grade or sixth grade. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I'm 36, no 35 now. Yeah, 35 now. So
Young
I
man.
came to America, and mm, then I started school here, and basically I forgot everything about religion and stuff. And then when I went to college, that's when my interest kind of grew again in spiritual matters. So like that, I was taking a global Islam class, and then uh, there was some course uh, for religion. So I thought, why not look at the Bhagavad Gita, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I've heard so much about the Bhagavad Gita. So I went and
Yeah.
online on eBay, and I bought a Bhagavad Gita as it is by Srila Prabhupada. You know,
Mm.
so I bought the Bhagavad Gita on eBay, and at that time I was listening to many classes by different bogus gurus, and at the same time I was listening to Srila Prabhupada's classes on Bhagavad Gita, conversations, but I was not convinced. This is probably 2008,
Yeah.
2009. I was listening to all kinds of
What
bogus
was the
gurus
main
speaking
thing?
and babas and
What was the main thing that was not in harmony with Prabhupada's teachings? What put you off?
oh yes, that's a very good question. When I decided, when I shifted gears, and when I thought, yeah, let me practice this Krishna
Mm-hmm.
consciousness more seriously, then I
Yes.
figured out that these people are bogus, first of all, and second of all, the conception of God as being a
Mm.
person just like you and I, that conception is missing from the Mayavadis, from the Christians, from the Muslims, from the
Mm.
every religion, you know, because God is a person,
Yes.
then
I
I
was
figured
thinking
out,
about the ISKCON gurus. What made you put off from them? The main thing.
oh no,
So
it
that's
it was it 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 was not the ISKCON gurus at that time. It was all
at the
kinds of
time though.
gurus. Yeah, it was all kinds of gurus.
Mm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
so in that way, I was searching, and then when I maybe 2008, 2009, 2000, 2010, 2011, then I started getting some realizations that okay,
Yes.
Srila Prabhupada is a bona fide spiritual master. And since then, I've been listening to his classes, his conversations, his lectures.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I was associating with these ISKCON people. But I never at heart
Yes.
really took them in my heart like I
Yes.
took Srila Prabhupada. So in that way, I was associating with them, I was helping them, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and I was beginning my Krishna consciousness. So
Yeah.
like that, I tried to work with them for many years. Then 2018, 2019, it kind of went sour from there because uh, I started to realize that their religion or this Krishna consciousness has become a mundane institution. This ISKCON has become a
Mm.
mundane institution. So I distanced myself, and I saw the activities of the so-called Kanishta Adhikari gurus in ISKCON. You know, Even though you do so much together, even though you might be doing the most of all, the like making money and distributing books and
Mhm.
inviting people, they will eventually turn on you because you
Mm.
have a different perspective, you have a different understanding that okay, Prabhupada is the guru, and all these other people, they're just like monitors or prefects, they actually have
Yeah.
no actual realization. And when you talk to them very personally, you can see their philosophical understanding
Mm.
is not in line with what Srila Prabhupada is saying, you know. So in this way, I distanced myself. At the same time, I was associating with them, and I saw that this is not going to work out, you know.
Yeah.
And then
And also
they.
the management also maybe
Oh
the
yeah, yeah, the management.
management of
Oh yes, the management is
you
another whole
said
story.
there's no temple there.
No transparency,
There's
no
no temple there.
Ishtagoshti. Right, right.
Mr. August.
There's yeah, there was no temple here. I was trying to help them start a temple or center. I said, you know, I went to them and I'd be like, hey, we have, X amount of dollars here. Why not let's combine and, I'll give
Mm.
you this money and then you give 20, 30, $40,000. I'll also give another 10 people, they give this amount of money and let's get an ISKCON temple going for Srila Prabhupada.
Mm.
Let's do it for Srila Prabhupada, because,
Yes.
we have benefited so much. They were not interested. They were like, oh, if you want to be part of the society, you must take initiation from the gurus. Then after that,
Mm.
I think a year, then you can have a say in the management, meaning that your vote or your opinion will be taken seriously. So I thought, just forget these people and just
Mm.
oil my own machine.
Because
And
a
then
temple is necessary, at least a center where
yeah,
people
so
can come
yes, that's what I've been suggesting to them for
Sunday.
many. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
And
suggested to
money
them
is
this.
there. There's plenty of money coming because
Yeah,
I know people do donations
yeah, but the thing
to
here
support.
is that these people who started the Sacramento Yatra some 20, 25 years
Mm.
ago, they've fried a lot of people and they have
I
set
see.
they've set a bad example
What
amongst
is the
the.
population of Sacramento?
It's probably like 500,000 people.
Or only half a million? That's
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
still, you can have a little
It's
temple.
it's a big place. Sacramento is a big place. It's not
Uh,
crowded. It's not crowded like
uh-huh.
most of the. Not like uh, Mahaprabhu. What's the population in Los Angeles? Like 3 million or something?
4 million, I think.
4 million.
It's 4 million.
Wow. Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
So Jesse.
And they have only one temple there.
Yeah. Yes. So that is my story. You can say. If any more questions, you
Mm.
guys can ask.
Yeah, it's interesting to know how our devotees evolved from the start, how they went into the spiritual life. For myself, I joined because I was hungry. I went to eat some chapati in Paris, where there's a nice temple. They bought a hotel there. So first thing, of course, prasad was nice, and the welcome was nice. There was a Mauritian there, and immediately they say, "Stay tonight. No problem. You can stay. There's enough space." So I stayed, and the next morning we had Mangalati, and there was no way to make too much sound because it's in the middle of the city. So everybody was clapping hands, very little noise, and chanting these long bhajan songs for in the morning. Samsara da vanarila doka, and I was very impressed. Such a long bhajan, and the French people didn't even looking in the books, everything. So I said to myself, they must be very advanced, and it's going to be very difficult for me to learn all these prayers in Sanskrit. But and then the next thing I saw them chanting on beads. So I said, okay, they are brainwashing themselves. So I'm not going to be a part of that. Like I was such an independent person, and I thought it was even funny. And what made me also laugh is that they were serving prasad on transparent plastic. So I said, these people are eating on the floor. So, and then I realized it was transparent plastic. And it's okay. More and more I understood that they must adapt themselves according to time and circumstances. But I definitely like the food, the prasad, the rituals, the mutis, Radha Parishishwara, and the association. I could see these people were looking for God. They were sincere. Nobody was getting paid, and they were just learning. And during the day, they'll go and distribute books. So it was all genuine. And then after the weekend, no, before the weekend, they said, we have a castle in the middle of France. Do you want to go? So I was on holidays these days. So I said, why not? I've never been in a castle. So we drove about 2 hours to the castle. There I was fascinated to see such a community living peacefully. We had organic garden, organic agriculture, growing our own wheat, and all sorts of everything for the kitchen, and 200 cows. It was nice because this is ideal because we are getting proper pure food, proper milk, and that's what Srila Prabhupada wanted. So I appreciated all that. Indrajumna Maharaj was the president, and the guru was Bhagavan Das. So Indrajumna was very enthusiastic with his kirtan and all that. At that time, he was behaving in a nice, perfect way, leading the community. We had about 125 persons like this, and including children, Gurukul. So that's what Prabhupada wanted. And then after some days, the Bhakta leader from Brooklyn, Lochanananda, he said, okay, we are going for a tour, touring all over France in a van. Not a bus, a van, a small thing. And I said, okay, let's do it. But before you must shave. The big moment came. So I had long black hair. So after I decided, let's shave. So the Bactalica, you see, what you are attached to, showing me in the bucket, this filthy hair. So then I felt I was belong to the community now, so I was accepted. And we went on tour all over France, and even we were limited. Every day there was Mangalati. Every day there was cooking for prasad, cooking for food for life. And all during the day, we did these activities non-stop, book distribution, Arinam, and sitting down and doing kirtan. Very good training and chanting rounds nicely. And after a year and a half, I got initiated in Italy. And Bhagavan came with all the gurus. Each one had to have their own Vyasasan. And we had a very good festival because Bhagavan was at the best countries: Belgium, Israel, Mauritius, South Africa, France, I think Holland also, a very big region. But what went wrong is when he made us, instead of books, I mean, together with books, we had to sell paintings, uh, carpets, very expensive carpets, to make money to buy another castle. So we surrendered, and everybody who had a car, every two devotees had a car, and we were selling these things, but it was illegal. It was not legal. Monks, I mean, religious people don't have no right to sell these things. So the tax people knew about this, and then they came to the castle and say, "Hands up! Give us all your documents on computer files." They took everything, and it, they knew all about our business, and the amount that we had to pay for fine was huge, millions of francs. And so they seized both castles. They seized both castles, and it was finished. So everybody, there was no resource. I mean, we could live on the farm, of course, but we had to pay this debt. And the only thing is to sell the castle. But the one castle now in the middle of France got saved because one sannyasi disguised himself as a businessman and bought the castle and rented it to us after. So that's how one ashram was saved.
So let me
yes,
let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Yes. When these gurus, these ISKCON gurus who are not actually qualified to be spiritual leaders or successors, as everyone thought, did anyone protest in your like, hey, this is something wrong here that I don't want to participate in? Meaning that they were like, people were having second thoughts about doing what you were told to do. I mean, selling paintings.
We had no choice. When the guru,
you had no choice.
When the guru went away after, he decided to get married again. A sannyasi getting married because he was very young, only 33 years. So when he saw that there was problem with other gurus, all over the place, gurus were falling. So he said, "I'm not going to be part of that." So he got married again and left all of us without guru. And what happened in Mauritius is the other God brothers, they took initiation again with Giriraj Maharaj. I did. I said, okay, Guru is gone, but Prabhupada is still there.
Jai.
I don't feel an urge to get reinitiation again.
Yeah.
So there are some other. They had previously had Bhakti Tirtha, is his name? Tirthapad.
Yes, yes.
And this one got problems also because he was using LSD, drugs, and probably gave drugs to his disciples. So some devotees had him as guru.
Wow.
And he was beheaded.
Oh, Jai Tirtha, yes, Jai Tirtha, yes.
His disciple cut his head, beheaded. So, so this disciple of Mauritius, he had this guru, and now Bhagavan also fall. So still, he got reinitiated again.
What? It got really what? It got really what?
Reinitiated again. Number
he got
three.
Number three. Number three. Third false guru. Wow. Third false guru. Crazy.
So I was lucky not to go into that nonsense. I followed Prabhupada and carry on service. Mahatma Das from San Diego was a president, and I was a treasurer, and we did nice programs, bona fide programs, with the usual programs. It was okay, and we collected money to build a new temple, which is now being built. It's going to be the biggest temple in Mauritius. And this is about my story. There's a new guest. What is his gone?
Christopher Krishnadas Prabhu.
Yeah, he's here. Welcome, he's here. Christopher. But he is muted.
Yes. He has joined us before on Zoom.
I see.
He's been following Srila Prabhupada and reading his books, and he has an altar of Srila Prabhupada as a spiritual master.
Very
and
nice.
guru, and he's been
Okay.
practicing for uh, I don't know, probably like 10 years or something.
10 years,
Um,
huh?
Yeah, I was just
go
Without
ahead.
leaving.
ISKCON.
I was just
Can you
leaving
talk?
on. I was just leaving on
Oh,
muted to make the sound quality better. Unless I was going to
Yes.
speak, I was just going to leave it muted.
that's okay.
Please introduce yourself, Christopher. I know you did that, but we have some new devotees from Mauritius, from
Just
Czechoslovakia.
briefly.
Maybe 5-10 minutes
Yes,
about
it's
your.
good to see you. Been listening. Oh, I listen over YouTube pretty regularly.
Right.
Oh,
I see there's someone else here that I haven't seen before. Philip.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah, he's new from
Hare Krishna.
Czechoslovakia.
Ah, Jai. Is that where you are now?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, it's separated now.
He's
It's Czech
24
Republic
years old.
and
It's what?
it's separated from Slovakia. It's Czech Republic and
No, it's
yeah, it's not important.
Mm, mm.
I'm 24 and I am desperate for association very
oh yeah.
much. I'm really happy to be able
Mm.
to associate with devotees.
Right.
Very,
I know how you
it's
feel.
good. We all correct.
Yeah,
Good.
that's
Where I am, there's not many devotees. Almost none at all that I know. But
Mm.
so I know what that feeling is like. These Zooms are nice. Like I said, I've been listening regularly, and it's nice to hear devotees speak.
Where are you?
Oregon, Eugene, Oregon.
Nice.
Mhm.
Beautiful country.
It is. The land's very nice.
Green, fresh.
Any center there? Any Hare Krishna center there?
There are some devotees here. There's some Narayan, sort of the Narayan
Ah.
tribe. You know, they have a restaurant and they have some house temples, and there's a couple of like ISKCON guru devotees, and but there's no. We have, sometimes we have kirtan in the park, something like that, or little
good.
programs. But yeah.
Right.
Any restaurant?
Nice.
Hare Krishna restaurant?
There's a Govindas. Yeah.
Ah,
There's
that's good. That's good.
There's a Govindas. It's owned
Restaurant is good.
by Damaraj Prabhu. He's a Srila
Mm.
Prabhupada disciple, and but he went to,
Mm.
he went to the Narayan crew, but it's the Govindas. It's been here a long time.
That's good.
Right.
Do you know
Nice.
Ramachandra? I thought I heard you mention. Do you know Jai Narayan?
Yes, I know Jay Narayan. He's a very good friend of mine.
Oh yeah,
He-
I know
Did
him
you meet
too. I also I helped him do a little work at his mom's house up here in Oregon at the coast, and I heard you
Ah.
mention his. I heard you mention his name one night,
Huh.
and
Yeah, he's a good friend. We conversate often. I need to call him. The last time I called him was probably like 3 weeks
do you
ago or
think
something.
do you think he can Zoom? Do you think he would come to Zoom?
Well, if you request and I request, he might. He might,
Yeah.
because he's a good friend of Narayan too, and he's a well wisher. So I'm
Yeah.
sure he can. But he's a little low tech kind of person, and he doesn't want to.
Right.
He talks about things. Probably his views are very strong, you can say.
Yeah.
Uh,
Is Narayan around tonight?
he said he might join us.
Mhm.
He's
My turn.
yes, he's babysitting his daughter's children, and
Mm.
so he
There's a
might join
problem
us.
with a time zone, the time zone.
Yeah, yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Ah,
The time zone is a bit difficult because now in Europe it's about 3 in the morning, something. How is it?
Next time you have to go to the bathroom.
Yes.
So
Okay.
during the early morning, it's a bit difficult to join.
I was gonna say like devotees who are like central time to the East Coast is like
Yeah.
happens like during our bedtime. So
Yeah.
it can make it it can create
Yes,
a hindrance in them being able to join the meeting, you see, if they like
Right.
keep like a rigid sleep schedule or like
Right.
like
Right. Definitely. Temple program. Right. Right.
yeah,
Right. I understand.
I was gonna say,
So,
it's
Chirananda
nice to
Prabhu, maybe,
like
maybe, maybe you can organize another meeting, or with the devotees, and have two meetings. One at maybe you decide whatever time is convenient, and you can do that meeting, and we'll
Yeah.
participate.
We have to think
And then
about
we'll
it.
have two meetings. Yes. Yes. Certainly.
Mainly for the European zone.
Yes.
European zone. We have to calculate what something can be done. It don't have to be the long meetings,
Right. Right.
even 1 hour.
Right.
But we can think about it.
Sure. So anyone else wants to share their journey in Krishna consciousness? What's their plans and what they want to achieve? What's the goal? In their personal Krishna consciousness.
Yeah. Philip, is muted.
Yeah, I'm thinking what to say. I would like to just say that I realized that the gurus are bogus, and I left bitter. And it was already, I think, 3 years, and I still wasn't successful finding any association that I would not
Get trained.
I could associate with, and so I was struggling the whole time to follow the rules and regulations. Yeah, that's all I would like to say.
Joy and bliss. Joy and bliss.
Who was the guru there in Mahaprabhu Das? Yes.
Joy and bliss. That's what we're looking
Joy and
for.
bliss.
Looking for the
Yes,
joy
we
in
are.
life and the bliss.
You will not find it in the ISKCON gurus. Let me tell you that.
Oh boy, what are we to
Anyway,
do?
who was the guru in where you were, Prabhu? Who was the guru?
My guru?
No, not your guru. Philippe Radka? Who was the guru in where you were?
There were many, but
The prominent one.
they were already inviting me to take initiation, but it didn't get to that point.
You figured it out.
Yeah, there were many false gurus.
Acha. Anyways, you figured out who's the guru now, right? Srila Prabhupada is the only guru, in the pure devotee, Uttamadakari devotee.
Yeah.
Even the ISKCON gurus, they say that we're not qualified, but we're giving initiation, and Srila Prabhupada is going to liberate you. I've had a conversation with Hanumak Prasheka Swami. They're saying that, who's going to liberate me? Oh, it's Prabhupada. So why are you giving initiation? If you're not qualified to give initiation and you're not on the level. So they're actually, what can I say, they're cheating people.
Actually,
You don't have
the word Ritvik has to be redefined, because Ritvik is a priest that will make the sacrificial fire, and to connect with
Right.
Srila Prabhupada. So we are not
Right.
priests. We don't make this disciple service with way, and we don't know how to make fire sacrifice. So we are not Ridviks. We're just followers of Prabhupada. So
Yes.
this has to be
Right.
put in the people's head, because when we say Ridvik now, it's a bad word. Oh, they are Ridviks, against his God. No, we just want to follow Prabhupada as it is, Bhagavad Gita as it is, instructions of management, how it should be. And then the movement will go strong, because
Got it.
everything is perfect in his instructions, but it has been changed completely. So that's why the movement is like a cult now.
Right. So
So
now,
many gurus, money making schemes.
right. Nowadays, they're trying. It has they have it so where they've developed a very heavy stigma against the word Ritvik and anybody they might
Yeah.
associate with that definition.
Yeah.
So it kind of they like try to create a self defense mechanism to like maintain this sense of cognitive dissonance, so that people, when they hear the truth, they have a reason to reject it, because they've created this mental fortresses in people's minds, saying that, oh, Ritvik, they're trying to destroy the movement and this and that.
So, lying.
It's up to us to re re redevelop that what people associate with that word, or like actually the following itself, and change it to a different terminology altogether.
Prabhupada Nuga is okay.
Right.
Followers of Prabhupada.
Prabhupada Acharya.
Like Prabhu Narayan was saying, it should be written down in a book. Not now we are speaking, but it can be forgotten if it's in a book, how things should be done in every aspect of the management, of the teachings and the books. Because eventually all religion will be very successful financially, spiritually, and it will grow. We can have to restore BBT, which is not BBTI. BBT has also been hijacked. It's a lot of money gone, you don't know where. BBT is
So,
supposed to be the milking cow.
Chidananda Prabhu, Narayan Prabhu will be joining us. So let me get set up for him so you can continue.
So when ISKCON will be restored, like we can take the example of Bangalore. Yes, that's such a tremendous effort to do something different, putting Prabhupada in the center, and everybody know what he has achieved. But Bangalore also should not commit any mistakes, because we all do mistakes also, and it will be perfect. What do you think, Mark? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, sir.
What do you think of all this?
I think it's beautiful conversation. I'm learning a
Thank
lot.
you.
Just to
That's
listen and to absorb,
attitude.
I'm learning a lot.
Very nice. That's
I'm
the
a new
attitude.
devotee, so I'm still a child. I'm absorbing everything as much as I can.
Yeah. But even if you're beginner, you can do a lot of service. Even distributing one Gita, you can save someone's life, just one. So this thing
How
we
do
have
I
been
do
doing.
that?
You get original books from LA. I can contact you personally, if you give me your WhatsApp, and then I can direct you how to do that. It's not difficult.
Okay.
And you can buy books online also from krishnastore.com, and then got all the things you want there. Not only books, but paraphernalia.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm
And
looking
then,
forward to it.
very nice. And then when your spare time, you just meet people, and you will be amazed that people are waiting for you to get the knowledge directly from Prabhupada.
People are
This has
thirsty
saved.
for Godhead.
Hare Krishna.
Sorry.
I said, I was
So
saying
anybody
people
here
are
can do
thirsty
that.
for love of Godhead. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
Who was that? Philip?
No, I was saying it's Batanda said people are thirsty, very thirsty for love of Godhead.
Very
They don't.
thirsty.
It's dormant thirst. And like when
Mhm.
you give them a taste of it, they start naturally. Most people start asking questions, and the more we're able to answer their questions, the more they become interested. And then sooner or later, before they know it, they're picking up Prabhupada's book and they're reading.
Yeah.
Prabhupada.
And during COVID, also we are get an advantage because now so many people don't have any jobs.
Oh, no, it's
So,
terrible.
terrible. What if you give them books and they can get some profit from it, little profit, and during the day they can have an income.
That's
An
right.
idea, because ISKCON has got all solutions for the material and spiritual. So if you can organize a restaurant, here again, you get people got jobs. If you organize a farm, so many people will be engaged. Even a little farm, you engage them, but not exploiting way, but cooperatively. You plant your own things. If you can get a cow, okay. And all this, we have the knowledge how to do it because with internet now, with contacts we have, it's already been done in India, in Hungary. There's a village completely self-sufficient. They grow their own food. They have got, I don't know how many cows, big land, and they
Nice.
build their houses. That's what we want in peace. While the others in cities will be starving, I don't know, because the system is not good. You know, in America, I hear today, every day, they are throwing away millions of gallons of milk and throwing vegetables because they
Oh,
don't know
boy.
what to do with it. Because the hotels are closed, there's not so much demand. So they just produce milk and then throw it away. Is that not nonsense?
You know, actually, I was thinking that that the Vaishnav movement has a great opportunity because less and less people are taking dairy with all the alternatives, and that's why these companies they're not making the money, so they're throwing the milk away. You know, they
Yeah,
don't want to
billions
give
of
it
them.
away, throw it down the drain. But Vaishnavs is say you start also presenting people who want to continue to take dairy, and you provide a goshala dairy, you know, like
Yeah,
milk products. In that way, you're
yeah,
taking over the business of the dairy industry and
yeah.
purifying it so that people are gaining benefit from taking the dairy. You know, they're gaining their max. You know, they're
Yeah.
purifying
Cow protection.
this.
And the bulls on the farm, they will be trained to plow the land, so the bulls don't have to be killed. And the pesticide is made from urine and cobor, cow dung, because
Mhm.
nothing is wasted in Vedic life. Nothing is wasted. The cows are peacefully living their lives. People are growing the crops, but not in a exploitative way like capitalists have been doing in a nice way. You can grow everything on a farm: fruits, nuts, cereals, vegetables. What do you want else? You don't have to go to the supermarket every day. And of course, we can also make clothing, but that will come after. That demands some of the knowledge. It has been lost, this knowledge. But they do it. So in Asia, they still do their own clothes by hand. There's no unemployment in this Vedic culture, and it's a peaceful life. So this is Prabhupada's recommendation to start this movement of Varnashram, a new divine world order. Because the Asura, the demons, are doing the contrary. They want to monopolize all the wealth. Now Bill Gates is buying large pieces of land, but he won't be protecting cows on this land. He would just maybe not even use it, while people need land to get food. Imagine Venezuela, so big. People have to import food. Is that comprehensible? You just put seeds in the soil, you get your products. But capitalism has changed this. They want to import things. They get a lot of revenue from oil, and then they import
So,
everything.
Chidananda Prabhu, we have Narayan Prabhu on the call, so he just joined.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Haribol.
Hare Krishna.
Jai.
We were talking about Varnashram way of life, and
Nice.
people are very interested. It's a social solution for the modern age. And you yourself had personal experience about this.
I doubt that we're going to be in the modern age for very much longer.
What do you mean?
I've just been looking at the news. People that are good at forecasting things are saying there's going to be a huge economic drop and the dollar will be worth nothing. And people are going to be in a very dire condition inside of 2 years.
It's quite possible. Quite possible.
Yeah.
Because
so it's quite
the system
possible.
is
Only
the
hope
system
is
is artificial.
Varnashram will save everybody. It's just like supposing that you have unemployment in the United States. We have unemployment insurance. You lose your job, you can apply for unemployment insurance, and it gives you like a fraction of what you were earning, but you can survive and pay your rent and all of that stuff. So I'm suggesting that what we are proposing is an alternative to unemployment insurance. Like the government could say, if you, instead of us giving you a bunch of money, we'll give you some land, we'll give you some cows, and you do the rest. And then you got to make it work.
And the training also. You can then get training.
Other choices, will there be?
Yeah, they need also training, because who knows how to milk a cow nowadays? So all this training can be given.
I was going to have it ready for you, but I wanted to concentrate first on the Kanista Madhyam Uttamadhikari. So have you got the paper?
Yes, we have.
Were you able to read it?
You sure?
You read it?
Yeah, I've read it.
Ramachandra sent it. Do you have a response?
Yes, but yesterday we talked about that.
Well, no, this is a new paper. I was wondering if point by point, do you have answers? Do you have answers for the points that are raised in the paper?
Yes. I don't know. Everybody has got this paper. I don't know. Not the new one.
Just the people. Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll share this paper. So if everyone can send me a message on chat with the email address, and then I'll send everyone this copy of this document that Narayan Prabhu sent me. And what I can do is,
Zoom. You can send through
Oh yes,
Zoom.
I can send through Zoom.
Share,
Okay, let me try that. 1 second.
share documents. But this has to be done through a book.
You see, last night we spent a lot of time. I kept on practically pleading with people to tell me, what were you told when you joined the movement? What did the teachers tell you? What did the initiator tell you? What did they tell you about the 3 steps of spiritual progress to the level of Uttama Adhikari? And nobody said a word. Nobody mentioned a thing about that progress. So I don't know what was said. I mean, I suspect that what people were told is, you chant Hare Krishna, follow everything. When you die, you'll go back to Godhead. I suspect that's what people are told, but I couldn't get anyone to agree with that view last night. That that's what they're told. So I don't know what they're told. Does anyone know what people are told when they join a temple? I mean, a lot of people here either associate with temples or actually were initiated by the initiators in ISKCON. So the question is, what were they told? Why did they do it? What did they think they were going to get out of surrendering to Krishna? Did they think they were going back to Godhead? I mean, we have a magazine called Back to Godhead, right? So what are people expecting when they walk in the door of a temple and someone talks to them about Krishna consciousness and the joining and how they can get initiated by the initiator, the initiator? How can they? What are they given to expect? Last night, no one could answer that question, which is really surprised me. What do you think? I have great respect for you, Chidananda Prabhu. So whatever you say,
We did answer, but we did not know the real way to do it. We answered that as soon as the spiritual master took our sins away.
Way to do what?
Sorry?
Didn't know the way to do what?
To go back to Godhead.
Well, no. I'm asking, what were you told? Not, do you have a way? Obviously, if you said, I have a magazine called Back to Godhead, and everybody talks about chant Hare Krishna purely and you'll go back to Godhead, surely people expect there's a way to go back to Godhead. That would not surprise me at all. What I am curious about is, what were people told when they joined the temple? Do you know anyone that was initiated by? If you know people that were initiated, right? In ISKCON, you were in Paris. Were people initiated?
Yes, sure.
What were they told?
They were told to do as I say. I am the Guru. I'm going to take you back to Godhead.
Yeah, but what did they? Okay, I'm the Guru. I'll take you back to Godhead. But did they describe the process?
The process is to follow his orders, his guidance.
Sorry?
The process is to show his guidance individually according to our personality. Yes. And then that's, of course, the reason they say there should be a living guru. Because each one has got...
What does that mean, living guru? What does the living guru tell you about how to go back to Godhead?
Well, to follow the principles, be intense in the service, and then he went away from the moment. He just
okay. So when a person takes initiation from a living guru, or I prefer to call initiator because guru implies Uttamadhikari, no?
Yeah.
I mean, guru means cannot fall down.
Cannot fall down.
No. Otherwise, what sort of guru? Guru is not just like a job, like a paramedic or doctor or policeman or fire department. The guru is not just a functioning person with a badge on his uniform. He has to actually have the qualifications, and we don't know what those
There's
qualifications
some noise.
are.
There's some noise interfering, like a
What?
television or something. There's some noise.
Yeah, there is television in the background.
Is it you?
I will wait. Okay, I can go back. I'm hiding out in a room.
I see.
So you have a dog, and my kid, my grandchildren, my daughter and granddaughter have a television. Okay, so do you see what I'm saying? So the initiator or guru or whatever he is says, "I will take you back to Godhead." Does he describe what is involved and how much time it will take?
No, he didn't go into details.
When you were initiated, no details?
No details, because it was mass initiation. At one time, maybe 50 devotees get initiated.
Yes. So you must have talked to lots of people that wanted to join the Krishna movement, right?
Sure.
And what did you tell them they could expect at the time of death?
Most of the time, we don't go so deeply into the final destination. At first, follow the primary
What do they think they're doing? I mean, if you join the Catholic Church, it's all about the final destination. You're saved, you do confession, you take the sacrament, you take your last rites, you eat the body of Christ and drink the blood of Christ, and you listen to the hymns and you sing in the cathedral. All of those things are instrumental to your going to, when you die, that you will be buried in sacred land, in consecrated land, and you will have last rites before you're buried, and that will guarantee, hopefully, that you will go to heaven. That's a commonly, isn't that what people are taught in the Catholic Church?
Yeah, Jesus will take all our sins, and we will all be saved.
Yes. So how does it differ when you join the ISKCON temple?
ISKCON temple is not the same as Christian, because we are following the right process, not eating meat and the regular principles. So that's why it was much better than the Catholics.
Well,
I could say.
Well, it's vegetarian at least.
Mahaprabhu was talking.
Yeah, I can't. I was only at a temple for about 6 months early on when I first found Krishna consciousness, and I came from a Christian background, which is like that grace-based. You accept Jesus, and Jesus clears everything up for you, and you go to heaven when you die, or when he comes back for the harvest. So Krishna consciousness, to me, the Berkeley temple, the mood was when I first was hanging around there and trying to learn that, yes, this is this process, and it's very easy. There's a lot of language things that Prabhupada even says that seems like, it's not hard. Well, we're all going to make it. We just have to chant, follow some principles, find some service to do. But then, and like at that time, I helped do some work with the Rath Yatra. And I remember reading something that said, anyone who sees Jagannath on the cart will not return to this world. So I was thinking, this is spectacular. This is even more grace and more mercy. Krishna consciousness is mercy. There's so much mercy, The deity is Prabhupada's mercy. So, you're thinking,
turning around Tulsi also.
Even as long as we keep trying, we're probably going to make it. But then as you read more, you start to realize then Prabhupada says things where you start to think, oh, I'm never going to make it. Actually, there's no possibility. Actually, the standards are so high that actually I have no chance here. but if I stick to it, then maybe, you know, after some bursts.
You.
So I just wanted to say that from my experience.
That's wonderful. What you're saying is exactly what I was hoping that others would say as well. You're speaking from your experience, you're speaking from your heart. And I was looking to everyone on this Zoom call to do the same. Exactly what you're saying, no, not exactly, because you had your own experience. So this is how you experienced it, but everyone had their own experience. Chidananda, everybody, Banu, everyone has had their own experience with the expectation of becoming a devotee of Krishna.
Yeah,
right.
It's kind of been a roller coaster for me, actually. Sometimes you think it's not so hard and the process is there and you will make it, but then sometimes it seems impossible. Actually.
Okay, well, if you want me to give you a note of encouragement,
sure.
Anyone who has heard, particularly from Prabhupada on recording or in person, the Hare Krishna mantra, he will go back to Godhead. The question that we raise is two questions: when and how. I mean, supposing that an animal walks by or a bird walks by and hears the Hare Krishna mantra in Sankirtan. There's a Sankirtan, they're chanting very nicely, Prabhupada melody, of course, and beat Prabhupada Mridanga beat, Prabhupada Kartal style, and the bird flies by and gets hit with the sound of the Hare Krishna mantra. He will go back to Godhead. The question is, when and under what circumstances will he go back to Godhead? What will it take for the bird to get to the point of being able to, he will go, his destiny is changed forever. Whoever hears Krishna's holy name coming down by the Sampradaya, not by Bollywood imitation crap, but coming down from the Sampradaya through down up until Prabhupada, and anyone else who seems to have an interest in Prabhupada and wants to follow his example, not make up their own ideas, then it comes down, and whoever hears, he will go back to Godhead, because the Hare Krishna mantra is so rare that even in the whole universe, no one hears the Hare Krishna mantra. Just when Lord Chaitanya delivered it 500 years ago, then people can hear it now, today. And if you want to hear it purely, listen to Prabhupada. If you want to hear it disgustingly, go to an ISKCON temple and listen to the kirtan. Ba, 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 you know? But anyhow, I'm a purist. I'm a Virgo, moon in Virgo, so I'm a purist. And I really want everything the way it comes from the Acharya, not how people like to turn it into something else for their own purposes, their own pleasure, their own sense gratification, so we say. Making the Hare Krishna mantra into a vehicle for sense gratification, well, you don't lose the holy name in the middle of that garbage kirtan, but you lose your opportunity to grasp what it is you're chanting and create a means by which you can then progress up the scale to the point of encountering Krishna after pleasing him with your heart and soul in such a way that he is so pleased that he reciprocates to you. How's that? Going back to Godhead means Krishna will reciprocate with your activities of love and devotion to him. For the example myself, I'm not much of a pujari, but I'm thinking that if I have a fan and I have this overwhelming desire to fan Krishna in a way that Krishna will be incredibly satisfied by the way that I'm fanning him, the breeze, the motion of the feathers, all that stuff, you know, peacock fan. And I'm fanning Krishna. The Madhyamadikari is inside of a black circle. He's inside of a black clump. The Mahatattva, the universe. He's inside of, Prabhupada describes exactly what it's like. If you have a coconut, I don't know how familiar you are with coconuts, but if you have a coconut inside the original coconut husk, the coconut inside the shell, which you usually get out and break open to scrape out the white, the solidified white material, that coconut rattles around inside of the husk. And that, as Prabhupada said, is the Madhyamadikari. When the coconut rattles around inside, he's still in the dark, but he's no longer connected to the source of material life. He's no longer connected to Maya or darkness. He is in the dark, but he's not of the dark, and the dark does not control him. So what is he doing? He's sitting there in the dark, not literally necessarily, but cosmically, and he has a fan, and he's thinking, I would love to fan Lord Krishna on a warm day, a hot day, in such a way that he will lean towards me, he will look at me, he will glance in my direction, he will love the way I'm doing it. Now, of course, when you do it, no one will like it, unless they're a horse or a donkey, maybe. But what do you know about fanning? What do you know about Krishna? So you start fanning. But as you fan, you begin to get a feeling of how Krishna may be, possibly, but without any knowledge, how he may be experiencing it. So as you fan, as you become a Madhyamadikari, the Madhyamadikari develops more and more intuitive feeling. After all, the Madhyamadikari is being guided by Krishna in the heart. And Krishna is Krishna, the same Krishna who's in the heart. Therefore, as the Madhyamadikari's desire to please Krishna by fanning him purifies, then Krishna directs him how to fan him to please him. It's sort of like a guy is there and his girlfriend is massaging his back or something of that sort, or more likely a guy is massaging the woman's back. But anyhow, the massaging is going on, and finally the person who's being massaged a little higher, a little harder. Can you use your thumbs? I mean, supposing this is on the outside of that coconut husk in the dark, you're in the dark and you're massaging or you're fanning Krishna. He says a little higher, a little lower. Oh, that feels so good. And you begin to experience it because Krishna in your heart is revealing that Krishna's pleased. But you don't know it. All you know is that you experience that. You don't know whether you're making it up in your head or whether it's really happening. So you keep doing that and doing that and doing that until it's unmistakable that Krishna is, as Prabhupada would say, cent%, meaning 100% satisfied. So when Krishna is completely satisfied, he cannot tolerate that the person fanning him should be on the other side of a dark curtain of Maya. He cannot tolerate. He wants that devotee to be near him, to fan him, of course. And so at that point, Prabhupada said, like this, the curtain of Maya rolls up. He comes under the protection of Yoga Maya. These are his exact words. And you can then see Krishna face to face. That only occurs when Krishna wants to be seen by you and wants to see you seeing him. What is it called? He wants to see you seeing him, seeing you seeing him. That's called rasa. Your rasa with Krishna is a mutual exchange between the Supreme Personality of Godhead and one of his infinitesimal parts and parcels. So how do we keep that from getting confused in a realm where there are hundreds of millions of devotees, and all of them have a personal, individual relationship with Krishna. How is that possible? Well, Prabhupada said the curtain of Maya rolls up. He comes under the protection of Yoga Maya. Yoga Maya is the illusion that you are the only one that has a relationship with Krishna in the spiritual sky. Can you imagine if the gopis thought there were all sorts of people that had wonderful relationships with Krishna? They can accept that, but they don't want competition. They want exclusiveness. And that is proven in the Rasa dance, where each gopi thought she was the only one dancing with Krishna. And when that happened, she was thinking, I'm the top gopi because I'm the one dancing with Krishna, not noticing there's a lot of other gopis dancing with Krishna in expanded form. And when the gopi says that, then we know the Shastra, or the Krishna, the 10th canto, the Krishna vanishes. And the gopis are just dancing with them. They reach out. There's nothing there. No one to touch. They look at each other. They have the same expression. Where the hell did he go? Where's Krishna? I want to know. I want to find him. And they go start lamenting and going crazy. But what was the blunder, if you want to call it? It's not a blunder, it's a pastime. But the pastimious blunder that they have committed is each one thought she was the only one with Krishna. Okay, so you're under Yoga Maya, you can believe whatever you're doing. If you're fanning Krishna, you don't know that Krishna is somewhere else being fanned by somebody else as well. That would spoil it for you. So Yoga Maya means you are under the spell that your relationship with Krishna is unique. And guess what? Your relationship with Krishna is unique. Absolutely unique. Now, where do they teach that? Where does the Kanista initiator tell people things like that? How can they? They don't know it themselves because they're not on the platform yet, are they? I'm not on the platform, but Prabhupada revealed it to me in conversation about 2 hours of, he was sitting, I was sitting. I didn't notice, practically, you'll laugh, but I wasn't unaware. Is he speaking? Is he not speaking? I was aware he was speaking, but I wasn't listening to somebody speaking to me. He was speaking and I was getting it, what he said. And I don't know.
You were
how
alone with him?
Yep.
You were alone with him?
Alone.
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 And you didn't record this? Did you record?
No such thing in those days.
At that time. What a fantastic recording.
He took a lot of pictures, though.
Yes.
I see.
In my mind.
I've seen a lot of pictures of you and Prabhupada, Nathan.
Oh, yeah. Oh, this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Das.
Yes.
Sri Chaitanya Das. Yes. Okay, yes. Pictures with me and Prabhupada, but that wasn't when it happened. I was in a room with Prabhupada in Bombay, I think. I was sitting on the floor and he started telling me these things. What am I going to do? Get up and walk out? I was sitting there completely enrolled. And I will tell you, one excellent part to that pastime of being with Prabhupada there is that I was given an unforgettable stream of words that I cannot, in spite of my senility of old age or whatever you want to say, I cannot forget.
Nice.
His words were not words. He shared with me a reality, the truth about the Kanista Madhyam Uddhamakari. Later on, I read things that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati said about the Madhyam Uddhamakari is no longer under the direction of his guru. In other words, if I were a Madhyam Uddhamakari, I'm no longer surrendered to Prabhupada. I am surrendering to Vishnu or Krishna in the heart. But what does the spiritual master do? Walk off into the distance? No. This is what Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati said. He monitors, because even a Madhya Madhikari, it fixed in increasing exchange of love with Krishna, can also be tempted by ego, be tempted by desire, be tempted by this or that. So the guru is there, the spiritual master, Prabhupada, is there to prevent that and head off any tendency in that direction. But otherwise, the Madhya Madhikari is on his own. And what is the advantage of being on his own? It's because he doesn't have to hear about, he's experiencing directly. And Krishna is in his heart guiding him to please Krishna in Vrindavan, in Goloka. So Krishna in the heart is guiding the Madhya Madhikari towards Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan. And whatever your rasa is supposed to be, I use the word fanning because it's graphic and it's easy to understand. It could be cooking, it could be so many things. You know that you remember the story of the yogi or Brahmin that was meditating. In his meditation, he had a big temple, and he very big, and he had beautiful deities in that meditation. He's sitting under a tree in a loincloth. He has nothing. He's thinking of the beautiful temple, beautiful altar. He's there. He does puja. He does the arctic ceremony. He chants, and he's in ecstasy. But one day he wanted to offer some sweet rice to Krishna. So he cooked sweet rice, but somehow he got off on his schedule. And he doesn't quite sure if the sweet rice is cool enough to offer. So he puts his finger in the sweet rice. Remember, it's an imaginary pastime, imaginary kingdom, imaginary temple, imaginary deities, imaginary stove, imaginary kheer in the stove, imaginary.
It's a dream.
What?
It's a dream.
Well,
It's a vision.
It's more than a dream, though. It is a sincere meditation. It's a meditation in which it's not exactly dreaming like we dream at night, out of our control. He's completely in control. It's sort of a weird meditation in which all these things begin to manifest in his mind as he does them. I'm sure you and I and everyone have done this. We're thinking, well, if a guy wants to please a girl on a date, he's thinking, I'm going to get her some chocolates. I'm going to get her some flowers. I'm going to wear my clothes nicely. I'll be sure to use deodorant. He's thinking of all the things he's going to do before he actually does them. But in this case, the Brahmin is so involved in making the sweet rice that now he's panicking. He's thinking, oh my God, I think I have waited too long and I have to make the offering 4 o'clock and it's just almost 4 and that sweet rice is probably still too hot. I forgot to take it off the stove. So what does he do? He pours out some sweet rice into a dish and he puts his finger in it, his thumb in it, just to see if it's too hot or not. He burns his thumb for real, not imaginary. For real, he burns his thumb. He jolts out of his meditation. The deity's gone, the temple's gone, the sweet rice is gone, the stove is gone, the land where the temple is gone. He's sitting under a tree in his little loincloth with his beard on, and he looks at his thumb, and it is burned.
Madhavendra Puri.
Oh, is that the name?
Madhavendra Puri?
Is that who it was?
I think so.
Well, thank you, Prabhu. So not Madhavendra Puri. No, it was somebody else. It was a different person, I think.
We can check that.
Yeah, we can check. Now, with his thumb burned, what does that tell you and me about his devotional service?
is in like he's in an eternal trance, pastime.
Not really. He was in the material world. He had a fantasy of making sweet rice. He put his thumb in it because he was worried it was too hot, and he burned his thumb for real. That is a Madhyamadikari.
Madhyam.
Madhyam. Why? Because he is not seeing Krishna face to face. He is imagining he's serving Krishna as a deity, you see? So now we see the Madhyamadikari is not somebody that can be confused with the Kanistadikari. And the fact that he burned his finger and came jolting out means he had not yet reached the Uttama Adhikari platform. He was not in his rasa with Krishna. He had just developed this intense desire to give Krishna sweet rice and worship him on an altar like a pujari. He wanted to
I
do
have a
that.
question.
You get the
Sorry?
distinction.
You have
This
a
is all
question?
this is all pretty advanced stuff. Yes. Who's asking?
The newcomer.
My name is
Philip.
Philip. I'm new here.
He came new.
I am
Philip.
thinking that after that happened, I heard that Krishna made him come to him personally, so he had to be pure to be personally present with him.
Yes. I never heard that part of the story. However, if that is the actual bona fide part of the story, then that means he went from Madhyamadikari to Uttamadikari. And he could see Krishna face to face. You see, seeing Krishna face to face is not so easy. I mean, you can see Krishna face to face. Just go to any ISKCON temple. You'll see Krishna, and you go up to him, you look at him, he looks at you face to face. The deity. But for that to actually occur in the uniquadrantal realm, whereas we're in the triquadrantal realm, according to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, for that to occur in the uniquadrantal realm, you have to perfectly please Krishna, and Krishna has to be perfectly pleased. So who is helping you please Krishna? Well, Vishnu in the heart, Paramatma. The same Paramatma that's telling you where the bar is so you can get a drink is the same Paramatma that is now helping you perfect your relationship with Krishna in your rasa with Krishna. You find your rasa and perfect it while Madhyamadikari. And then when that is perfected, the curtain of Maya rolls up and you can see Krishna face to face. You come with the protection of Yoga Maya, then you can see Krishna face to face.
I have a question.
Yes.
But
Prabhu.
Srila Prabhupada was a pure devotee. He also had a vision of a lot of temples, 100 temples. So he was also having this vision like Madhavan Thakur.
He was doing what?
He had a vision of the world going Krishna conscious.
Yes.
Lots of temples. Yeah, the same.
And that is our vision too, is it not?
It is.
Have we accepted that vision?
Well, we have to accept because it's there.
Have you accepted that vision?
Sure.
Good. Then we're all together. We don't need to struggle with neophyte mentality. We can try to become in the category, even roughly, as the Madhyamadikari, to give up all of the, the material qualities of a initiated devotee and start moving towards a non-specified identity, meaning Sat, who I actually am, part of also of Krishna, not as how I identify as this piece of flesh with this mental process inherited from my grandmother and my grandfather. I don't need to do that anymore, do we? Do we need to do that? Why should we? It's a waste of our time. Now's the time to give it all up and move in the direction. But instead of us trying to find Krishna like Amadi Markar, trying to meditate to become, we're serving Krishna directly like that, we have an easier path. Just pick up Prabhupada's melodies, Prabhupada's Mridanga beats, Prabhupada's Kartal style, and move out into human society chanting the holy name of Krishna as it comes down through very few people from 500 years ago. It doesn't take, how many people? 10? Something like that in 500 years? That would be good. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
How is Prabhu? You're so nice.
Nice girl.
Oh,
I think it's
look at that. It looks like a whale.
You want to hear it? Hold on. She wants to show you guys her toy. And this is her happy napper.
What is it? It looks like, is it a whale?
Happy napper, you again.
Wow.
What a beautiful girl.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Lala.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, beautiful.
Hare Krishna. Hare
Mamma
Krishna.
mia. She looks like her father.
Die.
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
Okay. Vinda, say bye.
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 I'm showing my happy napper.
Okay. Now you go play.
Like, goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Back to
Beautiful girl.
That's incredible. She's incredible. Ramachandra Prabhu, you hit the jackpot. You got a wonderful devotee as a child. All
Amen.
you need to do is help her cultivate her natural tendency to be who she is. And who is she? Pure spirit soul.
Pure spirit soul.
Yeah.
Yes, but one comment, Prabhu.
Yes.
Prabhu.
I mean, imagine we have our own community, village, and these children don't have to go to the slaughterhouse college school where they will have bad habit.
Well, why don't we create the Daiva Vanashram, and that way we can all live there with the cows, divided according to Shudra, Vaishya, Kshatriya, Brahmin.
Yeah.
Take Jagannath Prasadam 20 times a day if we can stuff that much in, and protect the land, and then live peacefully without need for even one penny. No, not even one paisa of money.
Because Prabhupada
All
said
we will
it's
need,
slaughterhouse.
whatever we need, it'll be there.
Yeah. School is
Does that make
slaughterhouse. They will show so many things that is negative at the schools.
Yeah.
They will learn.
Yeah, so they will go to the school, they will study Prabhupada's writing, and they will study also the art of Varnashram. And those that are children of the Vaishyas, if they're inclined to that direction, because they could become Kshatriyas or they could become Shudras or Brahmins. Oh. But the children of the Vaishyas can study agronomy, how to make a master race of cows, desi cows. We want to create a master race of desi cows, meaning get the best of the best females, the best of the best males, combine them. This could be done.
I'm going to leave. I just want to say thank you for your association.
Who is saying? Is this
Hare
Philip
Krishna.
Latka?
Philip, we do it
Yes.
daily, eh? Every day we do it. We try to do it every day. You can tell your friends also.
Yeah, okay.
Good night, Philip.
I can shoot you an email.
And you're more than welcome. We embrace you.
I also.
You know how powerful this spiritual association is? When I say we embrace you, we're embracing you over perhaps 20, 30,000 miles.
Hey, Hare Krishna.
That's quite an embracing capacity, don't you think?
Hare Krishna.
Mahaprabhu.
I remember. I want to say only that I remember Govinda Devi Dasi said that she made the image on Back to Godhead magazine with the greatest man or something about Prabhupada, and he got mad that, I mean, not mad, he disapproved her doing putting the word man as him, that it is not proper to make spiritual master like a man.
Correct.
Because he's not a
correct.
Correct.
Man, horse,
So
elephant.
I am little
These
disturbed.
things are all designed simply for impregnating females. Man means impregnate the female, but spiritual master is a much different category.
Yeah, I don't mean that. I mean that man is like imperfect, like people. That because you said people, so I don't think it's what Prabhupada would like to call him like that. That they are like people, spiritual masters. That's what I mean.
Well, that's wonderful. A beautiful distinction. And I personally want to thank you for sharing it, sharing that view.
Okay.
So we're not going to talk of the spiritual master as a man. We don't talk about Krishna as a man either, for that matter. Krishna is the supreme male, but we don't say, oh, Krishna is the big dude or the big man in Krishna Loka. No, he is the supreme personality of Godhead. That is subtle. Man means what? You know what man means.
Okay, thank you.
Man means impregnates the female of the same species, woman, man and woman. That is simply for animal-like reproduction. But if you have that reproduction and the children of that reproduction become greater devotees than you are, and you train them like that, then it's sacred. But
that's not the problem.
Has nothing to do with being pure spirit soul. If you're pure spirit soul, you don't need a body. So it doesn't have to be a man body, woman body, or donkey body, or dog body. You don't need a body if you're pure spirit soul. But we have them because we wanted what the bodies would give us. So here we are in the bodies that were supposed to give us pleasure. And now it's time for us to transcend our body and come out as spirit soul. Does that make sense?
Yeah, different mindset.
No, I'm very emotionally disturbed, and I don't know what to do. I don't like. Yeah, I just want to leave, but I think you are making offenses, and you are senior.
I am making offenses.
Yeah.
What is the offense?
But I cannot say that to you. I don't know.
Of course you can say it to me, but tell me what is the offense? What is the offense?
About that man and woman, that it's like material. It's not.
Well, what is it?
Well,
do you distinguish that I am not the body, I am the soul? Is that okay with you? I am the soul, not the body. So the body, no matter what the body is, the soul is part and parcel of Krishna, not part and parcel of the human race, part and parcel of the species of tree, not part and parcel of dogs or cats. Those are all bodies. I'm talking about the soul. What's the offensive part?
Yeah, but even the soul is there is female and male in spiritual world as well.
But that is different.
Yeah,
I'm talking about material bodies, not the spiritual world.
Uh-huh.
I was talking about in reference to the mention of Prabhupada not liked being calling man on Back to Godhead magazine. Now that is nothing to do with the spiritual world. That has to do with trying to identify Prabhupada according to gender on planet Earth. Whereas actually he's a transcendental being from Krishna Loka, right? What's the offensive part? What's the offensive part?
I made a mistake then. I misunderstood. I'm sorry.
Well, I accept your apology and I celebrate your intelligence.
Okay.
You're very intelligent and very perceptive. And thank you for being willing to share your doubt or fear or anxiety or dislike or hatred even. Whatever it is you're sharing, thank you for sharing it. Istagosti. This is Istagosti. It means circle of cowherd boys. We're all sitting down with each other, you and me and everyone, Chidananda and Ramachandra and Philip Rotka. We were sitting all together. But also cowherd boys from Krishna Loka are sitting with us. They're not limited to being in Krishna Loka. They can be wherever they desire to be. So Prabhupada says, for there's this to go see cowherd boys. And one of the cowherd boys is surprisingly important one. His name is Sri Krishna. So Krishna, cowherd boys, you, me, Chidananda, Ramachandra, we're all sitting together in a circle. So it's not possible to say the wrong thing, but we can actually understand, because if we say the wrong thing, it's because we understand the wrong thing.
Never a need to apologize.
Exactly.
Never a need to apologize.
Yeah, but I have different opinion that we can say different, bad thing, and that's what we need to be aware and careful, not to be impersonalist.
Impersonalist, no.
I'm worried about that a lot.
No, the impersonalist and the Kanista Adhikari share one thing in common. Aham Brahmasmi. The impersonalist says Aham Brahmasmi. The Vaishnava says Aham Brahmasmi. The impersonalist means I am God, I am Brahman, which is true, except that the Vaishnava says Achinta Veda Veda Tattva. I am simultaneously, inconceivably one and different than God, meaning I'm an infinitesimal part of God, not the whole existence of God myself, nor can I merge into that whole existence. Krishna is an individual who is infinite in dimension and size and capacities. I'm infinitesimal, but I'm as much Krishna as Krishna is, except infinitesimal in size. If we get that one straight, then we can never make a mistake.
So I think Chidananda Prabhu wanted to ask a question. Go ahead, Chidananda Prabhu. So
what about those who are pretending that they have reached that Uttama Adhikari? There are plenty of them. And what do you say about that?
I couldn't quite follow
pretending.
that.
Already.
Ramachandra, can you help me understand what he said?
Pretending to be rich.
No, he's saying that people who are pretending to be Uttam Adhikaris,
which are
to get followers, followers. And money.
Okay.
And money.
Got it.
Well, if you go to India, you'll probably find 100,000 of them all over the place.
Yes.
There's specific.
So how to distinguish? How to distinguish?
You can call them so many things: show bottle, cheaters, opportunists, bogey yogis. I mean, Prabhupada had nothing but contempt for people pretending to understand Vaishnava spiritual life.
Whoa.
We have to actually understand that it's better to be, as Prabhupada said, a sincere sweeper in the street than a charlatan meditator.
Yes.
So what is it? You're talking about the charlatan meditator. Better to be a sweeper in the street, pushing a broom saying, Hare Krishna, pushing his broom along sincerely thinking of how he is part and parcel of Krishna, even though he may not realize it, he may not know. He's a sweeper, he has no qualification, but he's sincere. The charlatan meditator, he may know a huge supply of Sanskrit verses. He can recite the Vedanta Sutra backward and forward. He can, he looks charming. He can seduce his female and some of his male disciples. I mean, he can do all of that good stuff. But what is the result of it? It's just worse than nothing, okay?
Worse
than nothing. Because the sincere meditator, the sincere sweeper is nothing spiritually, and he's better than to be, Prabhupada's own words, better than to be the charlatan meditator. Charlatan meditator is simply another form of opportunist. You know, Satyavasai Baba was in that category.
Very good. Ramachandra?
Yes, I'm here. Go ahead.
So what do we do?
You
have any questions? Or?
What?
Do you want to read that paper, by any chance?
Yes. Let's read some of it or all of it, and then maybe one by one, and we can have a discussion.
Hare Krishna.
Would you like to do that, Chidananda Prabhu? When I wrote that paper, Chidananda Prabhu, when I wrote that paper, I was thinking of you.
Yeah.
In our conversation.
Yeah.
Because you have a very orderly intelligence, and you were trained up in a very excellent temple by a very responsible initiator. Because of that, I'm trying to see how your intelligence connects to this high level information. It's just an overview. Could write books and books on the topic, but right now it's just so go ahead. I will be silent at this point.
You want me to read that? Well, I'm going to read it for you.
Thank you.
So, question Haribol Ramachandra Prabhu, Pamo, accept my obeisances. Here is the beginning of a questionnaire to be sent to as many initiates of the Kanistha initiators as possible, with a clear capacity for them to return the questionnaire by email, Facebook, Twitter, and other means of response. We need to make it easy for them to understand and properly reply to questions to be answered by ISKCON initiates of Kanistha initiators. Number 1, when showing interest in joining ISKCON, what expectations for going back to Godhead were you presented to you? Number 2, was it suggested that if you took initiation from a GBC appointed initiator, that you would A, go back to Godhead at the end of your present life, assuming one attended morning and evening kirtan classes followed by all 4 regulative principles and chanted 16 rounds. B, go back to Godhead in some future birth. Number of births required, not specified. C, can a Kanistha Adhikari go back to Godhead at the end of his present life? D, were you informed of the 3 Adhikars, namely Kanistha, Madhyam, and finally Uttama Adhikari? Number 3, was it made clear that only an Uttama Adhikari can go back to Krishna Loka, which requires that you have renewed and regained your eternal relationship with Krishna? Number 4, were you led to believe that due to the initiator taking on your karma that you, as an initiated devotee, would then automatically be qualified to go back to Godhead at the end of your present lifetime as an initiated devotee? 5. Were you the clear within the neophyte category of Kanishta Adhikari, with the lowest being your simple acceptance of the fact that you're Brahman and yet Aham Brahmasmi, your Achintya Beda Beda Tattva, both one and different than Krishna. 6. Were you given a clear understanding of the purpose of Kanishta Adhikari and how to scientifically progress from the bottom realization to the center realizations, and finally the highest limit of Kanishta Adhikari as a prerequisite to entering the higher realm of Madhyam Adhikari?
Who gets it?
7. Were you instructed as to the specific requirements from Adhikari as to how to progress to the stage of Uttama Adhikari? 8. Were you instructed as how to develop your select activities in the Madhyam stage that will open the door to the initial, then and then gradually more advanced reciprocation with Krishna that ultimately results in the perfected reciprocal relationship with Krishna, your eternal rasa, enabling you to enter Krishna Loka as soon as Krishna has become pleased with your deep reciprocal development of your eternal rasa with Krishna. 9. Was it explained to you that only a devotee advancing from the Madhyam platform to the Uttama platform will be able to enter Krishna Loka? There's
Krishna Loka.
some notes. The salvation concept of dying and simultaneously automatically going to heaven is not involved in Vaishnava philosophy. Number 10. What were you told by your Kanishta initiator would happen at the moment of death for a sincere and observant devotee of Krishna, still on the Kanishta platform? Question. Why did Srila Prabhupada create a movement that presently seems as its highest express goal, existence only on the Kanishta Adhikari platform? So there are many other questions to follow.
Mamma mia.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu Narayan,
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
what is he doing?
Mahaprabhu.
He's just coming up with
So we have
questions
to send this.
to harass us. No, I'm just kidding.
So we have to send this questionnaire all over the world and invite them to our Zoom.
Yes, sure. Jai.
We will send these questions all over the place.
Number 2D. The 3 articles. What were they again?
Yes.
Number 2D.
I have to go
as
back.
in David.
2D. Just a minute.
2D.
I have to.
The 3 articles. 2D. What were those again?
Just a minute. 2D.
Yes. I have it here. It is the 3 levels of devotees. Yes. 2D.
Okay. Were you informed of the 3? Carry on.
Yes. Yeah. Were you informed? Okay. 2D is were you informed of the 3 adhikaris, namely Kanishta, Madhyam, and finally Uttam Adhikari?
Can you explain that to me?
Okay.
Go ahead, Ramachandra, explain it.
The 3 levels of devotees.
Yes.
Kanishta, Madhyam, and Uttam Adhikari devotees. So one is on the Brahman platform, Kanishta Adhikari, meaning that he's following the regulated principles and advancing in Krishna consciousness, and the Madhyam Adhikari is more.
And he is distinguished from the rest of the world in that he knows that he's spirit soul. You
Yes.
ask him, do you have a soul? He will say, no, I am the soul.
Let him
Yes.
finish, Nathan. Let him finish.
Oh,
But go ahead. Go ahead.
and the Madhya Madhukari is someone who is automatically following the regulated principles. He has no desire to break any of the principles, and he's guided by Paramatma, Super Soul.
To do what?
Okay.
What, Narayan Prabhu? What did you say? To do what?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, in their spiritual life, meaning that they're guided towards Krishna. They're practicing their Krishna consciousness in he's guided by Paramatma, not his Uttamadakari devotee. I mean, spiritual master.
Sure.
Yes.
But specifically, he's being guided how to develop his own unique rasa with Krishna by pleasing Krishna. By his actions and feelings, Krishna guides from within, and Krishna in Krishna Loka receives from without. But at first, it's not very impressive for Krishna in Krishna Loka because it's sort of, just it's not very specifically exquisite. But as the devotional service becomes more exquisite, then Krishna, it attracts in Krishna Loka, Krishna's attention. And when his attention is fully attracted, he doesn't want to let go of you. He wants you with him. He doesn't want you not with him. So then that is when you can become the Uttamadakari. Does that make sense?
And the
By the way, thank you,
Uttamadakari, someone else
very
can
nice
explain.
explanation. What?
Krishna Loka.
Yeah, so someone else, my son is here. Can someone else do the Uttamadakari, please? Okay, hold on.
Somebody explain Krishna Loka to me, please.
Chidananda, can you do that, please?
Krishna
No, it's
Loka.
better that you
I'm
do
not
it
familiar.
yourself.
Is that
What?
an Indian term?
So Mahaprabhu,
Chidananda, you can.
Yes, sir.
Can you enlighten? Can you enlighten us on
Krishna-
Krishna Loka?
They say
Krishna
go
Loka.
back to Godhead, they mean Loka. They mean go Loka Vrindavan, Krishna Loka. It's happy land,
not
but like
clear
the
yet.
highest.
Happy
it's the
land.
highest possible form.
Nirvana.
It's not only Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha means place without anxiety, and that refers to all of the spiritual planets that Vishnu resides in his many various forms. But Krishna Loka is the highest planet, is the original abode, eternal abode of Sri Krishna, who is the original personality of Godhead.
Got it. Thank you. Is that
And
Philip?
it is shaped like a lotus flower.
Yes.
And inside, Krishna and all of his associates are relishing extraordinarily delicious pastimes with one another. All of them are relating to one another in ecstatic love of God, with Krishna as the ultimate object, but they get much pleasure from one another developing that love of God for Krishna. It's as though you're planning a birthday party, and everybody planning the party is having so much fun planning the party, but the birthday boy in this case is Krishna. So all of this birthday party planning is to give Krishna pleasure which he expects, pleasure which he doesn't expect, and pleasure which is a complete surprise. And that is what it is like to offer spontaneous love to Krishna.
Bliss and joy.
I have a question.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
I have a question. Prabhu Narayan.
This is Sri Chidananda?
Chidananda. Yes. The question is, many atheists, other religions also, let's say it's all myths. You're just being told stories like Jesus also is myth. What can you say? Reply to them.
With what? I didn't quite follow.
When we explain the Krishna Loka,
Yes.
people can say it's only a story. It's a story for children, just like this also. Jesus also is
Well,
myth.
that's if we have very low self-esteem, that could be that, yes. If we do not have any love for ourselves or anyone else, we could say that. But if you're considering that any love that we experience is just a fraction of the love between Krishna and his devotees, then it's no longer a children's story. Story means I want to entertain my child and make him smile, and that he can have fun with the story, and he can identify it. He can run around and say, "I'm Krishna," or "I'm Radha," like that. They can do that, but that's not the point of the story. Is to make us feel good about ourselves. The point, for the child to have an entertainment. The fact is that if I have any capacity for love, I have to someday, when I have got tired of every other question in my life, I have to say, where does this love come from? Where is the abode of such love? I can experience a dream that I like that beautiful woman, or that is a beautiful painting, or that's a beautiful piece of furniture. I can idealize it. And there's explanations too, because it comes from the platform of intelligence. And by meditation, you can see all the best things in their primary archetypal form. However, that's not the same thing as the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, these relationships are going on not to entertain children in a children's book. They're going on to give pleasure to the source of life himself, the all-attractive source of life. And all-attractive source of life in Sanskrit is Krish and Na. The all-attractive source of life is surrounded by increasing energy of increased love. More than we could, there's no way for, our ideas are so polluted. And I had that experience also. Go ahead.
You go ahead. You go ahead.
Okay. When I was a hippie, I don't think I was ever really a hippie, but I certainly got involved with the hippies. I was living in a house of a group called 10 Years After with, with a girlfriend who was the ex-girlfriend of Jim Morrison.
Really?
From a group called The Doors.
Oh, and famous people, right?
Famous. Yeah. So I was living in that group of rock group apartment with this girl who was former girlfriend of Jim Morrison, and you can imagine she had attractiveness factors which were above average, or why would Jim Morrison have bothered with it, So anyhow, she and I had this most extraordinary sensual relationship. I hope you don't mind my saying this. I'm trying to be a big sadhu here, but this is my experience. And so we had this most extraordinary intimacy between us, very extraordinary. And from that, I said to myself, it's strange. The real intimacy and ecstasy and pleasure in this relationship is not physical bodies. I mean, the physical bodies are doing their physical body pleasure thing. Okay. But that's not what was giving the pleasure. It's something on the emotional, psychic, and emotional level, which made that relationship two things: very relishable from the crude, totally crudely material point of view, very relishable, but on the other side of the coin, unattainable because the body was in the way. I was thinking if we could only just jump out of our bodies and relate like that, that would be so much better. It would be so much more pleasurable if we could just get out of these gross, stinking, clumsy, eating, sleeping, mating, defending physical bodies and just relate on that higher level that we were experiencing together when trying to use our bodies as the vehicle of intimacy. So I was thinking like that. I was very frustrated. Then I was meditating at the same time. It was not long before I became a disciple of Prabhupada. It was the same year probably. And I looked at we had a picture of Radha and Krishna. And I looked at it, and I'd been listening to the devotees and studying and reading. And I looked at the picture of Radha and Krishna, and I became very bitter in my heart. I looked at them. Hopefully, I think this should answer your question, Chidananda Prabhu. I looked at them with bitterness and frustration, anger, and disgust in a sense. I said, they are not subject to the limitations that I'm experiencing with my girlfriend, ex-girlfriend of Jim Morrison. I'm having that nice relationship with her, but it's frustrated by the physical body getting in the way of the deeper, more pleasurable experience of contact. And, you know, erotic, exquisite erotic contact, artistic, everything. And then I said, but Radha and Krishna, they are not experiencing like that. They don't have gross material bodies. I said, that is so unfair. I'm a guy that likes fairness. That is so unfair. I'm saying that to the picture of Krishna. It is so unfair that you and Radha have no obstacle between you. You can have endless experience of love between you, erotic love, whatever you want to say. It is whatever you create between you, male and female in the supreme sense. Here you are, the supreme male and female, and I am left like a dog barking outside the door because I cannot have any of that pleasure such as you have. This was my thinking. Isn't it disgusting?
So,
I hope you find it.
Prabhu, I have a question. So
yes,
we were there. Were we in this
wait.
Krishna Loka?
Let me finish the story.
Carry on.
Because I became a devotee shortly after. So I am saying, so great anger and disgust looking at the deities, the picture of Radha and Krishna saying, you have it all and I have nothing. Then an epiphany. Epiphany means a moment of truth. I looked at them, I said, wait, I've been told that I have no independent existence. I am part and parcel of you, Radha and Krishna. I am your part and parcel. I am inside of you, both. I am an infinitesimal part inside of you, Radha and Krishna. Therefore, when you are experiencing, remember, I'm stoked on this whole erotic thing. When you're experiencing your erotic, and they do, your highly erotic relationships on the highest imaginable platform, I'm part of that. I'm in there. Only thing stopping me is my willful desire to act and enjoy pleasure independently of you. But have I surrendered to you? If I come inside of you, I can be part of your erotic experience as part and parcel of you, both. When I realized that, I had no longer a slightest objection to surrendering to Srila Prabhupada. Because
so
I
the
realized,
question I was asking,
I hope it answered it. Did it answer your question?
No, the question I was going to ask is, we were in the spiritual world in Goloka Vrindavan.
Yes.
And why the hell did we decide to be independent?
It's false
ego. Of course, the Mayavadi says they were not there. They were in the
That's a great question, Jidananda Prabhu. Why the hell did we? I like that immensely, not just a little bit. Why the hell did we choose to become where we are right now inside of these grotesque bodies that are going to die? Why? Why am I in this condition?
And
the answer is absolutely simple, and on top of it, you already know the answer. And right, the answer is because being part of Krishna gives you the right, the God-given opportunity and capacity. You have the capacity to want to know what it would be like to be the recipient,
to be
Krishna, not the, as the part of Krishna, I'm the eternal servant Krishna, part of Krishna that's servant of Krishna, the whole Krishna. The infinitesimal part serves the whole Krishna, because I'm just like a cell in the body. Imagine if you're, well, when your cells rebel, it's called cancer, isn't it? Your cells begin to rebel against your body, and then you get cancer because they're on their own, they're doing their own thing. So the jivas are like that. They become cancer cells. They say, what would it be like to be in charge of all of this? What would it be like to be Krishna? And then you don't have a gap of time. You don't have time to think about it. There's no time to change your mind or reflect on it, because you're in Krishna Loka, surrounded by desire-fulfilling trees and Chintamani stones and pure devotees. The minute you want to be the enjoyer and taste to see what that would be like, you end up being the enjoyer, named Narayan or being named Chidananda or whatever. You see.
Why only that imperfection in the spiritual world? Everything is perfect, but we having the tendency to become independent. Only that is imperfect sense.
Yeah, it's not even independent. It says, I'm here, I'm Krishna's servant, I'm a coward boy, I like everything about it. I love playing with Krishna, eating prasadam with Krishna, going to Istagosti with Krishna and Chidananda and some others, Ramachandra and other exalted souls. I enjoy all of that. But what if I were the enjoyer and everyone were directing this to me? That's what we did. Here we are.
But we're not enjoying.
It's a great conversation.
We're not enjoying like Krishna, are we? We're not enjoying like Krishna.
I'm sorry?
We are not enjoying like Krishna, I'm saying.
We think we are.
I don't think so.
The jiva,
everyone realized that. Everyone in the material world realized that they are not enjoying like God.
Have you ever, just turn on your television, you'll see men and women in the Bahamas, in Mexico, and they are in bikinis, the women, the men are in little bathing suit, and they're hugging each other, they're smiling at each other, they're dancing around, spending their karma, their hard-earned karma, they're spending it on frivolous daiquiris and glasses of rum and dancing around in the moonlight. What do you think they're doing? Or don't you think they're trying to be Krishna? Don't you think that when a man is there with his girlfriend on the beach, beautiful girl, handsome guy, don't you think this is the rasa dance?
Eventually they'll realize that they're not capable of enjoying to their real potential, as you realize.
Of course not. And that's why every birth ends in disappointment. Do you think a guy 95 years old on his deathbed is looking back and say, hey, I did it. I enjoyed as much as God enjoys. No, he's saying, why am I old and shriveled up? Why am I dying? I want to enjoy, and I never got to enjoy as much as I wanted to. That's what he says.
Because so at least after the realization, can't we be back with Krishna? I mean, how many lives of realization does it take?
To go back to Godhead? Yes. You should be asking yourself, how many lives until I become an Uttama Adhikari? How many lives before I become a Madhyama Adhikari? How long will it take before I stop fancifying that I've reached perfection by becoming a Kanista Adhikari, and then another Kanista Adhikari with a big red chair sits on it and says, I can take you back to Godhead. Oh, can you? Will you? Oh, that's nice. All I have is $150,000 in my account. I wish I had more to give to you, but in exchange for you taking me back to Godhead, that's a small amount of money. I'll give you the money and then go out and beg for you, Mr. Kanista Adhikari initiator. So that's what's going on. That's what the ISKCON movement has become. It's just a scheme for enjoying on the Madhyamadikari platform. And what I say, that's wonderful. It's very excellent that you're on the Madhyamadikari platform is so much better than being below the Madhyamadikari platform. Everybody else is going to hell, and Madhyamadikari platform is going to go back to Godhead. What's the bad part? The question is, they don't know when or how they're going back to Godhead. And that's what this questionnaire of questions was all about. It shows there's a big gap in information gap, which has to be dealt with before a person can seriously consider going back to Godhead.
Question?
Yes.
Have you discussed this with the other gurus, the so-called gurus? These questions?
Of course not.
Not.
I just say hi, Prabhu, to the gurus. Why would I want to discuss this with them?
Because in the past,
I'm not interested in. Why should I? I'm not interested in what they would have to say. They've already. I mean, you have a guy that's got broken into a jewelry store, comes out of the jewelry store with bags full of jewels that he's stolen, and then I'm going to ask him, is it right to steal? You know, I mean, what am I going to have a conversation like that for? You know who I want the conversation with and what these questions are for. And I did mention at the beginning, send them out to everyone who can read and write, if you can, on Facebook or anywhere. What is the purpose of these questions? The purpose of the questions is so that the disciple, the initiate, will ask that question, not me. I was initiated by a pure devotee. What do I have to worry about? I could just walk off and say, you guys are all stupid suckers. And then I would have no respect for any of them. But that's not what I'm like. And that's not what the situation calls for. I want to deliver people back to Godhead. How can that be done? They first have to question whether their Kanista Adhikari initiator was qualified to initiate them. Then they have to start reading that questionnaire saying, wait a minute, I've been here for 10 years. I haven't heard about any of these items on that list. Oh, I've heard about them, but not as though they are.
Prabhu,
yeah.
Share the questionnaire in the group.
Oh, yes, please. Yeah. It's a long one, so I cannot do it. I'll send it to your messenger and WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what.
Yes.
Yeah. I think we need to do that. Everyone needs to read it and think about what is said. And if you have any question, I should have made it more clear. So tell me what's wrong with it, and I'll make it more clear. It's a big topic. It could be 200 pages written on what I put into this 1 page or 2 pages, and that's not very much space to give such a massive topics room to grow. But this is the beginning, and I want everyone to question who the hell are those people that are initiating, and why don't they tell me this stuff that this outcast from ISKCON, who is not allowed to go into an ISKCON temple or even use his own spiritual name, why this person is telling me things that my guru didn't tell me. And if he didn't tell me, why am I calling him guru? I could call him my initiator because he initiated me. That's very nice. I could call him my karma absorber, like a sponge, because he soaked up some of my karma. But I cannot call him my guru because he cannot answer these questions. Therefore, let's look further until we find answers to these questions, and they're all hiding in plain sight. The answers to these questions are hiding in plain sight. If you have the question, this question about the Uttama Adhikari, you start reading, suddenly all the little pieces, it's like archaeologists find like a ancient Roman plate that was smashed during a war or something, and pieces are everywhere. So he crawls around with a little brush, like a little paintbrush, and whisks off the dirt. He identifies the pieces, he photographs them, he gathers them bit by bit together until he has all or most of the plate there on a plotter, and then it can be glued together. You have all the pieces. So this is what is called for right now. People need to start finding the pieces and putting them together. Yes?
So if
and
they
you'll find
realize,
them in Prabhupada's writing. What?
If you share the post on Facebook or the questionnaire on Facebook, and they read it and find the answers to do research on it, if they get out of the institution or leave ISKCON contemplating on it.
Well, whoever wants to can read it. If the gurus, the initiators, the Kanasadakari initiators called gurus in ISKCON, or bona fide gurus in ISKCON, if they want to read it, I'm not going to say don't read it. Read it. And if you have questions, answer them. If you object strongly, then put your strong objection there and let's have a conversation on it. Let's see what can be said. But I know what Prabhupada said, so I don't need a ISKCON initiator appointed by GBC that wasn't elected. I don't need that person to counteract Prabhupada. They have to say what they like, but they dare not contradict my guru.
I think it's a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Question. Somebody is interfering. So what you have said today is enough to put in a small book.
Yes.
You know.
Oh, thank you.
You just have to
you
type
look like
it.
A person that could write a book, so go ahead and write it.
Mama does. And
it's time to take a preceptorial role.
And this will be going all worldwide. This response you make.
Well, do you like that what it was written? It took a few minutes to write it. Do you like it? Hey,
not the questions only. All this conversation that we doing today. It's about 1 hour or something. So it's quite a lot of writing.
Is it useful information in that questions, you think? Is it
not only questions, but your comments.
Should people answer those questions? Or if they cannot, should they seek you out so that you can answer them?
But instead of book, easier than that is an audio book. This can be done easily, and to make it known worldwide.
Well, yes, this is the beginning. It begins with a question and then turns into a book. Same with the cows. I was speaking with Rupa Manjari Devidasi about what it would take to get the Daiva Varnashram cow project going. And I gave her some 5 or 6 concepts, and she wrote them down and put them on her computer. And I asked, do you happen to have them? I was afraid she had lost them. Said, yes. Do you have them on your computer? Yes. Can you send them to me? Yes. So she emailed me texted me the 5 points on Varnashram cow protection. And those 5 points are enough to save the world. For the simple reason, it shows how cow protection is not, even people keeping cows in the backyard or getting cows and taking good care of them and selling the milk. They're not cow protectors. They're cow exploiters. They're using the cow to make money and feel good about themselves at the same time because they're not slaughtering the cow. What we need is to accept that the cows produce the milk, and there's tons of stuff that Prabhupada has written about it. And there's 2 books that I have, what Daneshwar has written, and yeah, I don't know if they're available. He only printed a few copies. I think 2,000 copies 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But there may be copies available, Krishna.com, or hopefully it is online somewhere and people can simply download it.
Spiritual communism, something.
We need to find all of the things that Prabhupada said about cow protection, and that will give us the basis by which we can sprout, like taking seeds and putting them in water. We sprout them, we make sprouts. Sprout the concepts of how to do it will come out of Prabhupada's words and thoughts, feelings, and desire. So we take his seeds and we put them in fertile water, nutrient-laden water, and then watch the seeds grow out of that. And that will be Varnashram Dharma. The sprouted seeds of Prabhupada's desire. You see, humanity, yeah, and it's not cow protection. Cow protection is cow exploitation. It is human protection. It is how to take human beings, put them together, divide them according to Varna, and then find a way to feed them. That's what it is. And then we see the miracle is present, that the cow is our mother, one of 7 mothers. So, just as our mother gave us the breast as a child, baby, the cow will give us the udder to the mature human society. And that will be our protection of cow will mean cow is protecting us. Accepting the mercy of the cow, accepting the protection from the cow is the meaning of human life. Not that I keep a cow because I'm such a big piece of you know what. I'm a big turd, donkey turd, standing there. Oh, I have a cow and I sold the milk and I don't slaughter the cow. So what?
Yes. One comment.
What's the use? You make the cow into your slave and you think you're a great man? I think not.
I want to comment something.
Yes, of course.
So India was the richest country in the world when it before the British came. And as soon as Lord Clive saw that this country is got everything, it's the world richest country. So he destroyed it by opening the first slaughterhouse. And what was the beginning of Lord Clive, British?
The Buddhists did not create slaughterhouse.
No, the British.
Oh, the British. Oh, the Mughals also. The Mughals were not vegetarian.
And they started the slaughterhouse business. It was the started of the end of India. Because without cows, everything goes wrong, you know?
Exactly.
And,
but it wasn't the British. Yes, the British were the final straw. But the British are recent, just a couple of 100 years. We're talking a span of 5,000 years from spiritual life on earth to what we're experiencing right now. It's 5,000 years. And even Buddha appeared because in the Vedic temples, they misused the sacrifice of a bull to produce a human being out of the ashes of the sacrifice from the bull's body. They turned it into slaughterhouses in the time of Buddha.
I see.
And so it's a whole thing. So Buddha came and manifested, as we know, from the Kshatriya, South Indian Kshatriya, and his philosophy was sit down and shut up. Just sit down and shut up. Don't start chanting mantras. That is yesterday. That's your grandmother's religion with beef on the table. No, shut up and sit down and shut up. So he did that, and it became popular and predominant. He was an incarnation of Krishna, Shaktivish avatar. One of the 10 Dasa avatars is Buddha. So then comes the next stage is Shankaracharya. Shankaracharya is actually incarnation of Shiva. And he taught people, once again, not to be the Buddhist atheist, meaning Buddha did not teach any God, no God. Just, well, I studied Zen Buddhism. You go to the edge of the universe to where it comes in contact with the Brahmajyoti, and that's called Satori to the Buddhist. So you go to that stage where you never leave the material universe, and neither do you actually stay in the material universe. It's sort of an interesting meditative location where you can go and be here and not be here at the same time. Doesn't that sound Zen Buddhist? Be here and not be here? There you go. So then Shankara came and he taught that God is an energy. He taught impersonalism in Benares. And the people joined Chandanacharya, and they practiced and practiced and practiced his philosophy. And he was very powerful. After all, he's an incarnation of Lord Shiva. Why not be powerful? And then at the end, and I don't know the whole part of the song, but you'll probably remember it. Maybe you can remember the last words. On his deathbed, they said, Master, Master, give us a final instruction. You've told us about Brahman, you've told us about energy, you've told us how we can merge, but you haven't told us exactly how to do it. And he lay on his deathbed. He'd been murdered, you know, Shankaracharya. He'd been given broken glass to eat, Prabhupada said. And then it killed him. And so he's lying there. Yes. He says, Bhajagovinda, 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 Mudha, Mudhe. You donkeys. Mudha is a donkey. You donkeys and rascals. And then there's Pate, Sane, and I don't know the rest of it. You know.
Donkey brain, Muda Mate. You dull brain, just chant the Krishna song.
Yeah. Yes, Bhajagovinda. And then when Prabhupada wrote that, then at the end, Prabhupada said in a lecture, he said, just Bhajagovinda.
Bhajagovinda.
Yeah. So then what happened after that? Came down that succession of followers of Shankara. I actually was in a cafe when I was doing projects, art restoration projects downtown on big, gigantic pieces of art. I was downtown at a cafe called Gorky's. It was a Russian cafe, but it was basically new age, not hippie-ish, it was way post-hippie, but it was art community would come there to Gorky's and eat Russian food. They had vegetarian stuff too. So I was there, and one time I saw a table surrounded by followers of Shankaracharya. They were all there. And I went over to them and I said, there's a question I would like to ask one of you, whichever would like to answer this question. I said, we all understand the mood of Shankara, we understand the impersonal Brahman, we understand everything that he wanted and espoused and encouraged. But one thing, I said, I have a hard time understanding. Why on his deathbed did he say, Bhajagovinda, 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 Mudha, Mudhe? You know, Papte, Sunday, you know. Why did he do that? And you know what they did? The leader of the Shankara people said, he turned to me, do what he said. We can't understand that either. We can't understand that. Of course, we understand. The Vaishnava understands it because Lord Shiva is the greatest Vaishnava. So even when he came to delude people away from, well, to encourage, to improve people's life, Buddha came to destroy religion. Shankara came to restore an idea that there is a supreme being and force. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to complete the cycle. And when he came as a child, as a young man, and sat with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Prakasananda Saraswati, he defeated them. Even as a youth, maybe, young teenager, tween, or something like that. He came and he defeated them all because he knew how. Yeah, a philosopher can do that. But he was the supreme being, Krishna, Radha Krishna personified. He defeated them all. And when he defeated them all, they eventually had to surrender to him. They had to give up their Mayavada philosophy, meaning they had to give up Shankaracharyas as their guru and accept Chaitanya as the guru. So we're in that final third stage. We are accepting Chaitanya as the guru. And so he is our guru via the Vaishnava Sampradaya, coming down from before Chaitanya and coming down and ending once and for all with Srila Prabhupada.
Question?
Yes.
Sometimes people ask, will there be another Acharya bona fide during the 10,000 years?
Good question. And my answer, I only can speak for my own view, but my answer is, what for?
What for?
Why? Why another Acharya? What are you going to add to what Prabhupada has given us that another Acharya can add? What would that Acharya add?
We got everything.
Huh?
Because we got everything in his book. Sorry?
I'm sorry, I don't understand. You said?
Somebody speaking.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I wanted to make the point of how about here?
Why?
How about
what would another Acharya bring to Earth that Prabhupada didn't bring already?
I was going to say the translation, to complete the translation of 10, 11, 12, Srimad Bhagavatam.
Those are not important. What is important? None of the books are important.
Unless the Acharya comes.
Do you know what Prabhupada said about his books? All those books that he wrote, what he said about them? He said, they're not necessary. All they're there for is to convince you why you should chant Hare Krishna. All the books do is show you from every angle of vision, why should you chant Hare Krishna? That's all why. There's no other reason. The books have nothing in them. Oh, they're fantastic. Bhagavad Gita, it's incredible. Let's say Upanishad, it's amazing. I go into shudder. I used to chant in England. I used to take my instrument of string and I used to play with chords, and I was chanting we would chant every evening the entire Upanishad in Sanskrit, not in English, but we chant the entire Sanskrit every evening, 18 verses. And people were going to ecstasy over that. They loved chanting it. Om Purnam Madaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnat Eva Vashishyate. Can you imagine a room full of young people shouting out those words with the Upanishad in their hand? It was ecstatic. Then we take the Gita. God is speaking. That's not true in the Quran. It's not true in the Bible. It's not true in the Jewish scriptures. God is never speaking. Somebody else is speaking. You know? Somebody else is speaking. Jesus is speaking, or Muhammad, not Muhammad, but Muhammad is speaking, or or Moses is speaking, or Abraham is speaking. Sure, that speaking is going on, but not God, not Krishna, not the Supreme Being. He's not speaking. But then you pick up Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, God is speaking to his friend. That's a wonderful thing. Jesus says, I'm the Son of God. Well, look at how much more advanced Arjuna is compared to Jesus. He's not the Son of God. He's Krishna's best friend. They travel together throughout all the universes, delivering the fallen souls. And Jesus says, I can't tell you much because you're not ready to hear it, is one of his posthumous shlokas. And he does. He said, there's so much more, but I can't tell you because you're not ready to hear. So, but Arjuna, everything in the Gita is sufficient for Stri Sudra Drujabandhu, for the women, Shudras, and the unqualified members of the higher castes, they can understand the Gita and go back to Godhead. Then from the Gita, what does God do? Oh, you want to know what Krishna does when he's not standing on a chariot in the battlefield being a charioteer for his best friend Arjuna? You want to know what he does? Well, let's start at the beginning. Let's say he's a baby and he's carried across the river by Vasudeva, and now he's in the arms of his mother, foster mother, Yasoda, who's nursing him because her baby was taken away back across the river to the house of Kamsa, who tried to kill her with a sword, and she leaped up and shrieked at him, "You idiot, I'm your worshipful deity Durga. How dare you try to kill me?" And then she zoomed off into the distance, which essentially doomed Kamsa, obviously. So anyhow, then the Srimad Bhagavatam, we learn all about Krishna to the very moment when the arrow from the hunter hits him in the ankle. And then what do we learn? Oh, now I know everything there is to know about Krishna. So now I don't know one thing. What is that? I don't know how to worship Krishna. Therefore, Chaitanya Charitamrita, I will worship Krishna according to the teachings of the Lord Chaitanya, Rupa Goswami, Jiva Goswami, and all the other great acharyas in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. I will read that and I will worship Krishna. Okay, and what do you do at the end of the whole cycle of Ishopanishad, Introduction to Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita? You passed the test, you've gone on and studied everything. And then what do? Chidananda, what do you do after you studied and read every single book down to the last word?
What
do I do?
How?
You have to surrender.
The chanting His holy name.
You chant Hare Krishna. It's the only Dharma. Right. You don't even need deities in this age of Kali. Age of Kali, you don't need deities. You don't have to go to a temple. You don't have to do anything. All you need to do is chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram,
Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Yes. All the scriptures and deity worship and temples are simply to house people while they finally, at some point, get the idea as to why they should chant the 16-syllable mantra called the Hare Krishna mantra. That's the only reason. Prabhupada published millions of books so that we would chant 16 syllables.
Chanting is the number one priority.
I'm sorry?
Chanting is the number one priority.
Yes.
Chanting, yes.
But what I'm pointing out is it's not only number one, it's the only thing. But the question is, how do you get people to chant? Why should people chant the Maha Mantra? Why don't they chant their parents' names? Susie and David, Susie and David, Susie and David, Susie and David. They can do that. Why don't they do that? Because they have to understand who Krishna is. And unless you study Ishopanishad, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, you will not know who Krishna is. Therefore, we study these books. What I'm saying, we're in 10,000 years, 1 second, in 10,000 years, we are running out of time. We have to get to chanting, World Sankirtan, universal chanting, as soon as we can, and let the people buy the books and find out why they were so blissful when they were chanting in that football stadium. So go ahead, Chidanand, question or statement, whatever you want to say.
Is a initiation ceremony by a Ritwik important? Because Ritwik means officiating priest, because we don't see many around.
The point of initiation at one time was vital and is a major key to our entire Vaishnava Sampradaya. At the present moment, if you have a choice between taking initiation from a GBC appointed ISKCON Kanista Adhikari initiator and reading Prabhupada's books, which will you benefit from more?
Yeah.
I like to say, supposing a person takes initiation from like Ramachandra, Jayacharita, Tamal Krishna, and he's put on a desert island all by himself with his japa beads. And another person is put on a desert island, and at some moment, trunks of books come up, and he's got all of Prabhupada's books, and he starts reading them. And he takes it seriously. He's on an island, there's nobody around. All he's got is an island and coconuts to eat, and then reading and more coconuts to eat, and maybe a little seaweed too, when he can get it. So the thing is, this guy, who's going to make more advancement? The guy that took Diksha from an ISKCON guru? Or the guy who got the books and studied them all without even knowing much about the author, but simply read all the books and got the point because he read the purports? Who's better off?
The one with the books, and as you said, only the Mahamantra is enough.
Yeah.
Prabhupada initiated all his disciples when he was there. And everyone in the parampara, all the acharyas did initiations.
There's no harm in initiating, but initiating by itself will not accomplish much if you take initiation from someone who is not an Uttama Adhikari. That is clearly stated in the Upanishad.
Talking about Ritvik initiation.
It says, why take initiation in order to get insufficient guidance? What is your motive?
Well, normally people say, I get initiated. The guru is going to take my sins during the sacrifice.
Yeah, how many sins can one guy take who's not a liberated soul? I mean, to take sins successfully, even Prabhupada showed and did confess that he suffered because of taking the sins of so many unqualified people. Now, what if you have an unqualified person taking on sins? Well, okay, so that's happened to Rohini Kumar. He was a wonderful little guru, and he was a wonderful devotee. I knew him from 1968. He was fantastic. He had an ashram in Los Angeles at the temple, and he was a guru. Everybody loved it. All the guru coolies wanted to take initiation from him. But then he began, he had sort of gay propensity. He began initiating gay disciples. And in the end, he left and joined a gay commune from guru because he took on their sins. So what is the use of a conditioned soul taking on your sins? Maybe that will make you feel a bit better, but guess what? If he takes on your sins in this lifetime, you'll have to return the favor and take on his sins in the next lifetime.
What about a Ritvik initiation on behalf of Prabhupada initiation?
Yeah, Prabhupada can take on these sins, particularly now. He has no body. He is in samadhi. if you take initiation from Prabhupada by a priest who performs the jagya, if a priest performs the jagya, the priest takes on a bit of the karma, Prabhupada said, but the main karma is taken on by the guru. And the guru in this case is Srila Prabhupada. And is there a reason why this cannot last for 10,000 years? Look at the Christians. They're still worshiping Jesus after 2,000 years. Right?
Not
So if they worship Jesus after 2,000 years, why can we not worship someone far more advanced than Jesus for 10,000 years?
Talking about initiation.
So you can take initiation, but take initiation from Prabhupada. It's not difficult. There are plenty of people who are willing to do it. If you want to save, just go online and ask for a Ritvix. And you'll find with your soda, you come up with Paranjan and said, Paranjan, you're a Ritvik. Please initiate me as a disciple of Prabhupada. Ha, ha, ha. He would not dare do that. He's never initiated anybody as far as I know. Because he knows that he couldn't make it work. But if someone's sincere disciple of Prabhupada, all the people who should be giving Ritvik initiations or in behalf of Prabhupada are the bogus initiate, not bogus, I'm getting caught up in the Maya, are the insufficient, the Kanista initiators in ISKCON. If the Kanista initiator in ISKCON offers initiation to Prabhupada, then that's glorious. That's wonderful. And if he offers on his own, he's a sucker. He's taking on someone's karma just in exchange for money, for fame, what's it called? Adoration, distinction, profit, adoration, and distinction, Prabhupada says. So for profit, adoration, distinction, he's willing to take on your karma. That's unbelievable. That's what sex workers do. A prostitute takes on the karma of the man in exchange for money. So what's the difference between an initiator guru of initiator initiator in ISKCON and a sex worker? They both take on karma. What's the difference? Neither of them are going to deliver anyone from the material world. But the sex worker might very well give you a much more entertaining evening. Think of Madame Pompadour. She was the mistress, mistress of Louis XV.
Does the ceremony make you more serious in spirituality, taking up daily sadhana?
The only thing that will make you more serious is being more serious.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Prabhupada as the topmost guru. Shall we say, he's the topmost guru on planet Earth after Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Look how many people were serious and how many people were not. He initiated so many people, the majority of them left. I think, or at least, if not the majority, then 30%, 40, 50% left. And even now, even more so, people are leaving.
I heard it was like over 90% of disciples left the movement.
So I don't know what the percentage is. I don't know how many initiations he actually performed. I know that when he entered Samadhi, he had initiated over 5,000 devotees. But how many devotees were in the temples left? I don't know. more than 2,000? Who knows? But that's not the important point. The important point is even Prabhupada's disciples left what were not serious. So what to speak of the disciples of a Kanista initiator? How come, oh, the person can kid themselves, they can fool themselves. Oh, my guru said this, and my guru said that, and my guru did this. My guru, you know, there's one guru that they collected the hairs from his ears. He had hairy ears. What in Canada, they would collect when they shaved out his ears because they were hairy. His disciples would collect and worship the ear hair of their Kanista guru, their Kanista initiator. So I mean, you can be as serious as you like about anything, but he could have collected the whiskers from his cat too, you know, and worship those. I mean, once you decide to worship somebody, it doesn't matter who that person is, does it? So, Banu, to solve your question, to answer your question, you might as well pick Prabhupada because you will go back to Godhead. If you pick somebody else, why not save time instead of a guru, human guru? Why not get a dog or a cat and worship them and say, this is my guru, and you collect their nose hairs and worship them, you know? Why not? Why not? As long as it increases your sincerity and your determination to serve Krishna, you can worship a fern in the garden, or you can worship a pebble on the beach. I mean, if it makes you want to chant Hare Krishna more sincerely, so why not worship Prabhupada? Just like Shankar said at the end, Bhaja Govinda, Bhaja Govinda, Bhaja Govinda, Mudha, Mudha, you donkeys. Why not just worship Govinda? So I could say Mudha, Mudha, Bhaja Prabhupada, Bhaja Srila Prabhupada, Bhaja Srila Prabhupada, Mudha, Mudha. He didn't say that to his living disciples only. He said it to all the disciples that came after him, including the people in Gorky's Cafe. That I asked, why did he say that? They're still wondering why he said that. So it doesn't matter. You don't. The matter, if you think you go to some ordinary man and deify him and say this is a holy person, and therefore I will worship him, and that will increase my Krishna consciousness. All I can say is, nice try, but I would say just personal view, and I could be wrong in many cases, probably won't work out too well.
Got the answer.
Won't work out because what is your connection? What is the connection with Krishna? What is the connection with Prabhupada? Like there's a guy in Berkeley that apparently wants to take on a disciple before he dies, and his wife is a disciple of Jai Pataka. So here's the disciple of a Naradama, lowest of humanity. Jai Pataka is one of the lowest of humanity. He also took part in poisoning Prabhupada. He has 40,000 disciples who undoubtedly he's made outrageous promises to, going back to Godhead if they simply worship him. And she now is trying to get her husband a disciple before he dies. I mean, why? I mean, that is, what does he need? He
came in the dream
he needs some of the
initiate
dragon
at least
hell.
by a person, he's saying. Prabhupada came in his dream and told him to initiate one person on his behalf, something. Prabhupada came in his dream and told him to initiate a person on his behalf, something like that.
Who did he tell to initiate somebody? He never said one word about anybody initiating anybody. Who did he say that to?
Before leaving Earth, initiate someone.
Prabhupada said that. Do you know? Is it in a letter? Is it in a lecture tape? Is it in a book? Show it to me and I'll believe it. But unless you can show me, it does not. I never heard Prabhupada tell anybody to take initiation from someone simply because they were dying? Why?
Because
I mean,
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said,
why? If I were
to
dying,
one of his,
if I were dying, the last thing I'd want to do is initiate somebody who might drag me down to hell with their sinful life.
Mhm.
Why do I want to expose myself to some rascal wanting to be initiated by me? Why does he want to? Because he wants an advantage. Why, if I'm dying, do I want to give him some sort of crazy advantage that I could be using to go back to Godhead eventually? Why do I want to do this to myself?
yeah, he shouldn't be initiating because he has stayed out of the ISKCON Guru system. He should stay like that and depart and leave the world. That would be to his advantage rather than getting into the system.
Prabhupada said that before dying, each person should initiate by ritvik initiation someone to be Prabhupada's disciple. He said that? I don't think he ever said that.
That's what one of the part is that I understood that part, and another was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said to a disciple, initiate at least one disciple.
Who said that? You're saying Prabhupada said that? Where did he say it?
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said to his disciple, initiate at least one person.
Oh, these are pure devotees. Why does he want to initiate? Because a person initiates just one person who is a follower of Chaitanya. He said, Uttamarakari, if he initiates one person, that person will go back to Godhead.
Yeah.
Are we talking about are you talking about somebody who's supposed to take initiation from a direct disciple of Lord Chaitanya 500 years ago?
No.
Why not?
What, Prabhu? Come again.
Why not? Why not take a initiation from a disciple of Lord Chaitanya? That's who he told to do it.
Yeah.
I thought you said that Prabhupada said to do it, but I never heard that Prabhupada did.
I was thinking that Prabhupada came in his dream and told him something like that. I was recalling it.
A demon?
Came in his dream. Dream.
So Prabhupada had a dream that all of his disciples should initiate one person before they die?
No. This person has had a dream. This Prabhu had a dream.
He had a dream that Prabhupada told him to do that.
Maybe. I think so. That's what I recall.
And does that make it true? Was it really Prabhupada in the dream? Or was he simply imagining it? I mean, unless Prabhupada said that, Prabhupada said one thing which was very amusing, because after so many years, everyone was saying, Prabhupada said this, Prabhupada said that. And Prabhupada one time was asked something, did you say that? He said, no, I've never said that. And they said, well, people are saying that you said it. And then Prabhupada said, so many things I have said that I have not said. Meaning that people are going around quoting Prabhupada for things that Prabhupada never said.
It's like that game Telephone, where the message gets relayed so many times that it originally gets distorted from the original meaning.
That is also possible. But in a case like having a dream that Prabhupada told me to initiate someone before I die, that has no substance at all in Prabhupada's teachings anywhere.
Right. I just meant that as a general statement.
It's nice try, but no cigar. Well, again, supposing a man is dying, he's about to croak, and some wino walks into the room, said, let me initiate you. I have to initiate someone before I die. Probably my guru came in a dream and told me that. You initiate the guy that's a wino. Guess what? Your next birth, you'll be a wino. You'll be an alcoholic in your next life. If you initiate one with your last breath, you'll go into his aura. Not he won't go into your aura. You'll go into his aura. And what will you gain out of it, except another layer of stupidity?
Yeah, got it. Right, Prabhu. What the answer?
Does that make sense? I don't know, Banu. I mean, you seem to be thinking it's a good idea, and I don't want
No,
to
no, no.
disrespect your view, but I'm just telling you what, as far as I understand, is the truth in the matter. And
Just wanted to clear the small things, small doubt.
yeah.
I was totally, I was always against it, and I wasn't a pro about it.
Yeah, you're good. I'm glad you're against the idea. Now, the thing is, what if that guy that wants to initiate someone who's not able to even keep from losing semen at night? Then he has to take on the karma of that person. Why? Why should he do that? It's stupid, no?
Prabhupada said that we should not try to artificially give Diksha initiation. Otherwise, we will fall down or get sick.
Yeah.
Because we have the ability to absorb the sins like Jesus. We don't have that capacity.
And the question is, as far as I can see, that, we don't know what Jesus actually said on the topic, but what he taught was that everyone should become like him. He wanted his followers to become essentially Essenes, meaning that they lived out of doors without shelter or just occasional shelter. They kept all of their possessions in one bag, meaning if there were 10 of them, one of them had a bag with 10 people's possessions in it. And if you had 2 cloaks, you give one to the poor. That was Jesus' teaching, not to become a Christian Rockefeller or Christian big shot mega church preacher with millions and millions of dollars. No, he wanted people to take vow of poverty and to live only vegetarian life by begging. So that's what he wanted them to do, not that a bunch of fat cats who are eating cow flesh will then be saved by him. That's not his teaching. Why would they be saved by him? Why would he save anybody that doesn't want to live his life?
Right.
It's just a hoax. But, as we all know, anyone who's familiar with the Catholic Church would know that Constantine picked up on it because it was he figured out by accepting Christianity and to please his mom who had accepted Christianity, he could go out and kill thousands and thousands of people in the name of the Prince of Peace. Turn the other cheek. Yeah, turn your other cheek and I'll chop your head off. That's what he did. And also he liked the idea of getting rid of all the temples of Zeus and Athena and all of those that they were worshiping. And he could only have one God and one leader of the church and only one Caesar or one head of the Roman Empire, one head of the church. It happens to be him. It's Constantine. He's the head of the church. He's the head of the Roman Empire. He's gotten rid of all of the beseeching priests from the different types of temples that all want to cut open geese and look at their entrails to see if it's a good day to go fishing or not. He got rid of it all, and he made the Holy Roman Empire. He was the Roman Empire under Constantine. Then he made it the Holy Roman Empire, and then it became Europe. The Catholic Church began to shrink back after what's his name, Martin Luther. They began to shrink back. It shrank back and back and back until it was only Italy. Then it shrank back and back and back in Italy until it was only Rome. Then it shrank back and back and back from Rome until it was Vatican City, which is a small plot of land with the Vatican building inside of Rome. So the great empire of Constantine that covered all of Europe shrank back to one parking lot where people go and stand and look to see if there's smoke coming out of the chimney to mean a new pope was selected, or they go to the balcony and listen to the pope speaking and giving prayers, and they are filled with devotion. All very nice, but it's not what it used to be, is it? So what's the advantage to all of that? We don't need it. So what I'm saying is the teaching of Jesus was to become a vegetarian Essene. I happen to be descended either from Hillel or from one of his close associates, who was actually the guru or the teacher of Jesus. And, you know, we all know, anyone who's a Christian knows, do not do unto others as you would have them do unto you. But that's taken from hundreds of years before the golden rule of Hillel, which was, do not do unto others that which you would not have them do unto you. So don't do to people what you would not love them to you. Rather than do to others what you want them to do to you. You know, like give them a present hoping they'll give you an equal quality one at Christmas time. Anyhow, enough said. So is there any question on any of these things we've covered so far? Ramachandra, you blanked out. Is there a reason? Banu, are you okay?
Yeah, do not do what you don't want that to happen to yourself through others. Means, and there are different classes of people who have different consciousness. A person, what's right for one person may not be right for another person. How does that apply over there?
Well, but we know the answer to that question. How many gods are there?
Different classes of people.
How many people or how many beings constitute being the Supreme Personality of Godhead? How many Supreme Personality of Godheads are there?
One.
Would you say? What?
One, only Krishna.
Yeah, only Krishna. And are we part and parcel of Krishna?
Yeah.
Does that mean that I am pure spirit soul?
Yeah.
Does it mean that you're pure spirit soul?
Yeah.
So where's the clash? You're saying there's different people, different this, different that. There isn't. Everyone is part and parcel of Krishna. End of story.
No, a person may be accustomed to lying. It's fine for him to lie with others. So he would accept.
That's not him. That's his body and his mind.
Yeah, Prabhu. Just let me complete.
He is not capable. He is Satchidananda. What is there to lie about?
So it's okay for him to lie, but he shouldn't be lying to another person, because another person who is truthful, because that.
If somebody wants to lie, Krishna will give him the words to lie with. If you want to cheat,
I was telling about the saying you were saying.
If you want to murder an innocent child, Krishna, Paramatma, will show you exactly how to do it and will help you do it. Right?
Mm.
So lie, what's lying? Who's giving you the lie to speak? You want to lie? Krishna gives you the lie. Why? Because you want it. He gives you whatever you want if you have the power to have it. If you have the karma to get away with it, he will tell you how to cheat, how to lie, how to murder, how to rape, how to pillage. He'll teach Krishna. There's not a single thing that's done that Krishna is not supervising for the person who does it. Why does Krishna do that? Because you're part of him. Why will he do that horrible things simply because you're part of him? Because as part of him, you have a right to not have your desire refused.
So why are the demigods in the picture? Why complicate things, keeping all the demigods and people worshipping demigods?
Okay, so people are worshiping them. People worshiped Adolf Hitler too, didn't they? People are worshiping Joe Biden for some reason I cannot imagine. People are always worshiping other human beings. That's the weakness of the human, is that he wants to find a powerful man or woman and worship them to get some benefit from worshiping them, obviously. Nobody bows down to the king because he hates the king. He bows down to the king so that the king will bestow a blessing or a favor on him. Why do people go to the priest in the Catholic Church? They want their sins removed by the ritual.
So Krishna knows that these people want material benedictions. Therefore, he's allowing the demigods to bestow whatever they're asking. So can't he directly deal with them?
Well, they bestowed insofar as they have the good karma to receive it, yes. If they don't have good karma, then they can't have what they want. They can only have what they can have. But anyhow, yes, the demigods are bestowing, but the person that is awarding in reality is not the demigod. Oh yes, the demigod has his Paramatma in his heart too, doesn't he? Paramatma is in the heart of the demigod, but Paramatma is in your heart. If you want something and Krishna wants you to have it, it requires a benediction. If you have the karma for it, the demigod will bestow it on you. Why not? But it's all because you want it.
No, if the person knows that it is Krishna who is bestowing, and then he starts to develop. If a person knows that it is Krishna is providing through the demigod, through everything is done by Krishna, he starts to build a relationship with Krishna and starts his journey.
Which Krishna are you talking about? I'm talking about Paramatma in the heart. Paramatma in the heart fulfills your desire. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead in Vrindavan, Uttama, the original form of Krishna.
Bhagavad Gita quotes, there's a Bhagavad Gita quote that is indirect. Those who worship the demigods are indirectly worshipping Krishna himself.
Well, only for material gain.
But why don't he make them realize that they are worshipping? They have a connection with Krishna.
Are you saying that you can worship Durga so that Krishna will bring you back to Godhead?
If you hear me, you'll get the point I'm saying.
I'm trying to hear you.
So if Krishna is not making them realize that he is the provider, he's providing them through the demigods.
I don't understand what you're saying. Krishna is not the provider.
Krishna is the provider.
He doesn't need to provide. Everything is already provided for.
When the people not realizing, even though they are worshipping the demigods, it is Krishna through the demigods he is providing them. So where they're not able to build a relationship with Krishna.
How do the demigods get that power to begin with? How can a demigod have anything to give to you? Where does he get it from?
From Krishna.
No, from Jagya. He performs sacrifice. Krishna does not encourage people to take material bodies. Would you say that a demigod has a material body?
No, the problem in India is people worship demigods for material gains, and there's no concept of Krishna because some demigod or they did.
Are you talking about
a demigod?
Are you talking about free gain? Why would a demigod give you something that you do not deserve?
No, Prabhu, I'm asking. I mean, I forgot the question right now.
Yeah, you're saying the demigod. You pray to the demigod in India, and the demigod will get benedictions from Krishna and give them to you. Isn't that what you just said?
No, sanction. The sanction is approved by Krishna.
Which Krishna?
Oh, there's only one Krishna. Which Krishna? Supreme Personality of Godhead.
In your heart or in Goloka?
Krishna is like the central government. Central government, the analogy given by Prabhupada. All the demigods are like the state governments.
The only Krishna that will deal with the jiva who is not in the spiritual world is Paramatma. Paramatma is the only form of Krishna that will deal with conditioned souls. Any conditioned soul that worships a demigod has performed sufficient pious actions through jagya to have a bank account, and the demigod is like the bank teller. You say, I came in here, give me 5 crores of rupees.
Krishna is not there in the material world?
What?
Krishna is not present in the material world?
Krishna is not in the material world ever.
He's there. I mean, he's in each universe, in each earth, he's performing his pastimes simultaneously. In this universe or some other universe, in each day of Brahma.
Are you saying that Krishna is in the material world?
Yeah.
He's never in the material world.
5,000 years ago, wasn't he here?
If you read the Brahma Samhita, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati explains carefully how Krishna manifests in the triquadrental realm, his natural abode is the uniquadrental realm, but he makes it absolutely clear that Krishna never touches material energy, ever. Who touches material energy is Shiva. He's married to the material energy. And so therefore he is contaminated. Shiva is contaminated by material energy. What?
Didn't Krishna descend to this material world 5,000 years ago in Dwapar Yuga? As the son of Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Mata?
He didn't descend to this world. We can say he did, but he manifested, first of all, it wasn't his original Goloka form that came here. And second of all, you have to read it. Read the Brahma Samhita. You'll see how he did it. He came here to live in a special realm that has never touched material energy, named Vrindavan in India.
He also went to Mathura, traveled in Kurukshetra.
Those places had no material quality to them whatsoever. But they are mixed. They seem to. In other words, if you go to Vrindavan today, you don't see Krishna Loka. You see a bunch of old buildings and a bunch of old people and a bunch of hogs passing stool by the side of the road. But that's what you see. But that's not what you see with your eyes, with your spiritual eyes. If you see with your spiritual eyes, you'll see you're in Krishna Loka. It's a completely different realm. Coincidental. You have to understand what Bhaktisiddhanta was writing. The uniquadrental realm with the triquadrental realm. Learn to distinguish between those, okay? But you can only do that if you read the Brahma Samhita in its original form without any idiots editing it.
Brahma Samhita is one chapter of Bhagavad Gita.
The Brahma Samhita is not related to the Bhagavad Gita.
Srimad Bhagavatam?
The Brahma Samhita is a statement by Lord Brahma. And you chant it if you go to the ISKCON temple. Chintamani prakara sadmansur kalpa viksha lakshavriteshu surabhiya vipalyantam lakshmi sahasra satasam brahman sevimanam govindam maripurusham tamaham vacham. That Brahma exclaims. He exclaims when he sees Krishna Loka through the wall of his material universe that he's now in charge of. He gets a transcendental vision by hearing Krishna's flute. But if you read the Brahma Samhita, and you have to read a before 1934 version published by the Gaudiya Math, when you read that, you will then know what is how Krishna interacts on earth without ever coming in contact with material energies. I should think you would have learned that already.
Brahma Samhita is Brahma glorifying Krishna.
Brahma Samhita is written by Brahma, and it describes everything in this universe, how it came about, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati translated it from Sanskrit into English.
Okay. I'll read it.
What do you think?
I'll read it.
You're gradually becoming enlightened, Bhanu Prabhu. You're gradually losing that shady distinction that people try to combine material energy with spiritual energy, which cannot be done.
Hare Krishna.
Right. So thank you, Banu. Your questions were wonderful. It gave me shudders of ecstasy to respond to your question.
Hare God.
Because if you had not asked, how would I contemplate such things? I'm not spiritually advanced enough to think about things like this. But when you ask, I'm forced to think. So I thank you for forcing me to become Krishna conscious.
Hare Krishna.
All your mercy. Hare Krishna.
Shy. So Mark, Mahaprabhu, you're still here.
Absolutely.
How did you like all of that?
I love it.
That means your heart, you are a devotee, a high-ranking, high-level, not ranking in terms of social, but you are a high-level Vaishnava devotee in a previous life.
Possibly.
Well, otherwise, why would you love something which is incomprehensible to even people with PhDs in theology?
Wow. It's heavy.
And it is. Yeah. Do you understand that the greatest theologians in Harvard and or Cambridge or Oxford, they would not be able to come to this conversation with us. But you say, I love it. So that puts you ahead of the greatest theologians present on planet Earth who get paid a lot of moolah for teaching what little they know in Oxford.
You're looking good.
I feel wonderful when I'm in your association. How can I not feel good? Because everyone gives off an aura, and that aura is like sunlight, and that sunlight warms others near them. So if I'm hearing you and talking with you or being heard by you, I feel your aura. And that aura is nourishing to a old critter like me.
Old critter. I wouldn't say that.
Well, one can say whatever one likes, actually, can't one?
Not yet.
Because whatever we say has no bearing on what's really going on. Only when we talk about spiritual life does it make sense. Does that make sense? When we talk about spiritual life, we're talking from eternal soul to infinitesimal soul to infinitesimal soul. When we align those up, it's like a barbecue or whatever. You take a skewer and you line some, tomatoes and potatoes and whatnot on the skewer. And tofu.
And tofu.
On the skewer for the barbecue. I'm just goofing around here. But I'm saying that we're like skewering, where a skewer is beginning to run through us, the jiva, the spirit soul. We're not talking from the human platform. We're not talking from human experience, right?
How do
We're
we
not
know?
talking from.
How do we know
Huh?
when we're done?
How do we know we're what?
How do we know when we're done? When
We're,
it's time to stop cooking.
we're never done.
We're never done.
We're never done.
Never done.
Because we're eternal. We are eternal. Never done means I was born, I lived, I got old, I died. If I'm lucky, otherwise I'm born, I become a teenager, get hit in a car crash and died. So or died in abortion. I died. So I mean, we are accustomed to trying to think in terms of our material personality, our material experiences, our material body, and our material conception of reality. When we bounce or leap from that to the truth, which is I am an infinitesimal spirit soul. I am eternal, and nothing that I've experienced in my daily life is eternal, except the fact that I'm observing it. The fact that I'm consciously observing my material life proves that I'm eternal. But what I'm observing is not eternal. When I tie my shoes, that's not eternal. When I brush my teeth, it's not eternal. So what do you think? But what we're talking about here, this is eternal. And so the more we become aligned, the more ecstasy. We'll gradually get to the point where we are shuddering in ecstasy in the discussions we're having. But it will take a little time. It'll take some time. So what are we doing now? I think, have we wound down? Are we at the end of our session, or is there another question or something going on? Ramachandra Prabhu, you're muted for reasons which are easy to understand.
Yes, sir. I have a question. Ryan Prabhu.
Is this Bhakta Andrew Ananda?
Yes, indeed, sir.
And why don't we see you? You're not visible.
Oh, just because I'm kind of like multitasking and I'm not exactly in the frame all the time, you know.
You're always multitasking. And I might add, you live in a very interesting looking place. Very, very not art. What shall I say? It looks as though it's a very intellectually oriented place that you live.
Oh, well, I have a lot to work on to get organized, but I
there you are.
Little by little, I trying to make improvements and get up to the standards, Vedic standards. You know.
Well, I like the energy that comes from your habitat.
Oh yeah.
From your space.
You think so? It needs quite a bit of work to get rid of the old and be able to.
Well, of course it does. That's called birth, death, disease, old age. It takes place as we speak.
Right.
But you had a question or a statement? What is it you wanted to ask or to say, or what do you want?
Oh, I wanted to inquire about organizing services such as daily readings, a facility for devotees to associate. I wanted to ask what your thoughts are on that, or if you have any.
Well, I think it is a wonderful idea. I
sir.
think that we need a more sophisticated communication system. I understand there are people that have kirtans that have thousands of people on it in like a Zoom conversation of kirtans with thousands of people. I don't know how they do it. I'm not a very technological guy, but there are Ramachandra is more technological. You're probably more technological, so I don't know how to do it. But I think it's a great idea. Right now, I'm concentrating because you can see. Did you read those lists? That list? Did you get it in the email?
I haven't checked my email, but I sent my email address.
Okay, but did you hear that list of questions which I raised that should be answered by anyone who's in ISKCON or has taken initiation from a Kanista initiator?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I was listening. I was hearing the point.
So that's where I'm sort of headed. I want to raise these major questions before I croak, which hopefully will not be for another 10 years, but nonetheless, it takes time to change the entire history of the world. So let's get started. So what we want to do, what we need to do here is be able to have everyone in ISKCON read those questions and ask them. They can be improved. That's just one set of questions. Those same questions could be made much more finely tuned, and they could be more comprehensible to more people. And that we can do, and you can do it also. You know, once we have the right idea, let's keep on perfecting it. Does it make sense?
Yes.
So that's what I want to do. Of course, it would be nice to have programs. It would be nice to have kirtans. It would be nice. But I would have kirtan. It's interesting. It's kirtan concept. But I want to have kirtan in a big soccer stadium. I keep thinking India is a good spot. But after India, maybe Thailand. After Thailand, maybe Russia. You know, someplace that has soccer stadiums. Fill it up with 100, 50, 100,000 people, high, sophisticated sound system, and then 60 or so microphones connected to a control booth, all wireless, and then people with headphones on will walk from person to person in that crowd, ask him, do you want to lead the next kirtan? So the crowd will lead the kirtan one at a time. So one man who's never chanted before, ever in his life, will lead 100,000 people in kirtan. That's nice, no? So then we have all the mridungas and kartals out on the floor in the stadium, not on a stage, with a bunch of egotistical brahmacharis, not in the stage, but they also are wired up with amplified mridungas, amplified kartals, and headsets, so they can hear each other perfectly. And the kartals, the mridungas, and then individual people leading the kirtan. We'll also have a small party on the stage, but that won't be leading anything. And then in the control booth, a person says, number 42, do you have somebody? You do? No, you don't? Okay, number 38, do you have somebody? You do? Okay, you're next. Like that. They just turn people's mics on. They can lead the kirtan. If they screw up, then somebody else can lead.
Right.
But the main idea is and I've done this all over the world. I've proven that it succeeds on the scale of a few hundred people or even a few thousand people, but I have not proven that it works with 100,000 people. That is yet to be proved. But I am utterly confident that it will work. Just as when 1970, we had Rath Yatra, we were afraid nobody would show up for it. We cooked for 40, 50,000 people. And, who's going to say that many people will show up? So what my brother and I did, we went out to a rock and roll stations at night where this howling jack, somebody or other was shrieking and screaming in between songs just to keep people from tuning out of the station. And we went on and he asked us, could we say something? We started shrieking and screaming, there'll be 50,000 people marching to the sea, giant chariots 60 feet tall and 50 feet wide. And it will be such a glorious occasion. There will be beads, there will be instruments, There'll be men and women dancing. There'll be children in ecstasy. I mean, we just went on and on like that in between every song that he put on the radio. The net result was, it was an intriguing idea, right? You're listening to late night station, undoubtedly stoned out of your brain, and you hear him talking about 50,000 people are marching to the sea, 7 miles to the sea. Well, that sounds pretty extreme. So guess what? One person came to see if that's true. One person multiplied by 40,000. In other words, 40,000 individuals came to that Sunday to see if it was really going to happen. And because 40,000 people came, or 50,000 people came, it did happen. You see, we didn't say 50,000 people, let's round them up like cattle. No, we said talk to 50,000 individuals saying there'd be 50,000 people. And when 50,000 people went to see if 50,000 people came, there were 50,000, but they were all 50,000 individuals, not a group that belonged to the same thing, wearing the same colored t-shirts or whatever. No, it was individuals came. And that's how we attract people to Krishna consciousness. It's an individual affair. It's an individual matter. We don't invite people to come all at once. We invite people to come as individuals. And we, unlike the ISKCON fiasco right now, we don't encourage them to merge with the crowd. We encourage them to remain individuals. You're an individual, stay an individual. What did Prabhupada say that? Yes. What did he call us? He said, independent philosophers. You have 50,000 independent philosophers coming to Rath Yatra. Why? Because they all made up their mind individually to come. They didn't come because it was the thing to do. They came because each individual wanted to. 50,000 of them did. So the same thing in the auditorium. If you have 100,000 people chanting Hare Krishna, when the chanting takes place, it's 100,000 individuals, not a big crowd. 50,000 individuals. Nothing's morphed or merged into anything else. Just chanting. And I've done it. I've done it in the most sacred places, in sacred garden in Jagannath Puri temple. So I have that experience. And it was glorious. But it wasn't 50,000 people, it wasn't 100,000 people. It was only about 300 people. But they all grabbed the microphone one after another. We let them all take turns leading, and that's the key. And everywhere I go, I do the same thing. When I'm asked to lead a kirtan in any temple, I hand the microphone around. Or if I'm playing my instrument of string, I give the microphone to somebody. So each time a person chants, the next person leads, the next person leads, the next person leads. It is an incredible experience. If you had been there, you would have seen what I meant, because you would have been one of the ones that leaded, and then hundreds or thousands of people would respond to your leading the kirtan. And maybe you never tried leading a kirtan before, but it worked out perfectly. Do you like the idea?
Yeah.
Well, then sell your soul to Krishna. Sell your soul and just join Krishna. Sell your soul to Lord Chaitanya and then join him and wander around the world behind Lord Chaitanya's leading you. Just take that risk. This one lifetime. Enough eating, sleeping, mating, defending for one lifetime. Now just follow Lord Chaitanya. Bhaja Govinda, Bhaja Govinda, Bhaja Govinda. Worship Krishna. Okay? I have a feeling I should get off the line now. What do you think?
nice.
Ramachandra, is it time to quit?
Listening, very nice, and I'm very
I don't know.
grateful.
Ramachandra's the only one that can get us to quit.
I just want to say I'm very grateful to be able to share this association.
Well, you're making spiritual advancement, not because of me. You're making spiritual advancement. Yeah. You're making spiritual advancement because of you. And that's the only way you can make spiritual advancement.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
They don't bother teaching you that in the Kanista Adhikari initiator crowd. So I'm going to sign out. Ah, there's Mark with the Golden Gate Bridge. That's
Here
wonderful.
it is. Nara Narayandas Vishwakanda.
Ah,
Always good to see you, my brother.
Mahaprabhu Prabhu, you are looking more and more blissful by the moment.
Joy and bliss. That's what it's all about.
Yes, isn't it?
It is.
It is.
Well,
all
have
I
a
can say is, what's the bad part?
There is no bad.
Exactly. It's the one realm where there is no bad part. For every action, there's an equal opposite reaction. That's sometimes good, sometimes bad, right? But in this case, yes, and in this, it's called karma. But in this case, there's no bad part.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Glories to Prabhupada.
Bhakta Andrew Ananda.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Well, sorry, it's always nice sharing some association. We're all at different, positions in our path going back to Godhead. The thing that counts is that we're all here, willing to share our time in order to grow in love of Godhead.
Amen.
Hare
Hare Krishna. Have a great night. We'll connect soon.
Yes. Perhaps tomorrow.
That would be great.
Yes. Whenever we're discussing these topics which pertain to our eternal nature, not to our temporary nature, there's no other way to describe it except that it is great.
Have a great night. Hare Krishna.
Yes. I signed out. I can't sign out because Ramachandra is the only one that can sign us out.
He's muted.
Well, he's muted, but I would say he's asleep.
He passed out.
Hare
He passed
Krishna.
out in the spirit. Hare Krishna.
Hi.
Good night.
Good night.
So should we end it here and continue tomorrow?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. But
Chai.
who's going to wake up Ramachandra?
I think he just woke up.
I'm here.
Oh, Ramachandra, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, great. I think we've come to the end of our session.
Sounds good. So we'll continue tomorrow. So
Yes, yes. Were you able to catch much of it?
yes, I was there in and out. I was going in and out.
Yes, of course. But anyhow, I think that there's a lot, if people tune in, you see the conversation that we're having for ourselves, it's glorious. But what about the fact that whatever we're doing is going to be heard around the world on this conversation? Then it means that everything we've come to, every little jot, every little tidbit of spiritual life that has been evoked is it's going to be multiplied 1,000,000 times over in every direction. And that is one of the most wonderful things about this conversation.
Yeah, and people can join live.
Yeah.
And
Just like
not-
when Ganesh and Vedavyas were compiling the Shastras, I mean, they were just two people up in the Himalayas compiling the Shastras.
Mm-hmm.
But how would they, I mean, they did know, but I mean, but how, if it were just like us, how would we know that millions and millions of copies of the Bhagavad Gita that Ganesh wrote down with his tusk would be distributed thousands of years later?
Right. Mm.
So we should not underestimate the potency and power of what we're actually doing.
Jai Prabhu. So I'll end it here now. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.